Welcome everybody to the season finale of the second season of the Dune Over, and this will finish the book. It was a little bit over 100 pages, I think.
Yeah, something like that. I think about 100 pages.
And I am Dan, your host, with Scott Hazelwood, cartoonist. Go check him out on his Instagram, which I have below in the description. You can check out all his Dune drawings.
Yes.
Which you've been inspired lately.
Yeah, definitely. Buy my zine if you want.
Jen is running a little bit late, and we will not have Sid live, but she will be in the chat commenting along. She was feeling a little bit under the weather. So just briefly, we're going to bring this up, and then we're going to save it for next week. You got to see an early showing of Dune.
I did. I got to see an early showing, and I saw it on IMAX. I don't want to say too much. I'll say I enjoyed it, and there's that. I'm definitely excited to talk about it. Hopefully next week with you guys.
I've got tickets for 7:00 IMAX opening night.
Nice.
I'm very excited. It's one of those things I don't want to get too excited because I'm afraid that I'll end up being like, oh, well, it could have been better, blah, blah. I don't want to be that dude.
Yeah.
So I'm keeping my expectations fairly low, but watching the David Lynch Dune kind of helped me get my expectations back under control. Because I was like, well, anything I see is going to be better than this.
Sure. And I do think that one has, it has its own charm, right? That the David Lynch one.
Oh, but yeah, it's called Sting.
Well, yeah, for sure.
But the Duncan Idaho in that movie is so fucking horrible and meaningless.
Yes, yeah, that's that wouldn't be a spoiler. I would say they improve on Duncan Idaho for sure.
Oh yeah, he's a complete himbo now.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm really excited. And next Saturday we're going to be discussing it. I haven't figured out the time yet, but also HBO Max made a weird decision today to move up the release date on HBO Max to that Thursday.
I saw that.
So 6 p.m. Eastern, you will be able to watch it, which completely undermines having a Thursday movie release.
Yeah, that's a whole thing, right? The release window and the exclusivity window and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Also, seeing as how there's a movie by a huge director that came out this week.
Yes.
That completely tanked opening night. Ridley Scott's The Last Duel, 315,000 on Thursday night. That is it.
Oh.
That is horrible for a director of his standing and stature.
I take responsibility. I was going to see it. I might see it tomorrow, so maybe I'll bump that up.
I went and saw Halloween Kills, and then I got Peacock TV so I could watch Halloween Kills again and kind of nitpick at it, which I don't know why I'm going to do, but I guess that's where I'm at in my life.
No, that's a good, if you love it, you got to nitpick it.
It was $5 to get Peacock TV, and they have all the Friday the 13th streaming currently. So, what the hell?
That's how they get you. The library. The library is you can justify the library on some of those services. You can feel like it's worth it.
I'll get rid of it after a month.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure of it.
And that's another thing. Yeah, it might be worth it for a month.
So the only reason I can see that Denis Villeneuve would be okay with this, because he's been very outspoken about HBO Max and everything, is if they already told him, you're getting your sequel. No matter what the movie does, you're getting your second part.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the one thing. And I mean, I think people know this, but people that aren't aware, it is Dune Part 1, but I don't really feel like it's being marketed as Dune Part 1. It says Dune Part 1. It's again, this isn't wouldn't be a spoiler of how you would receive it, but it says Dune Part 1 in the beginning of the movie. So right away you're like, Dune Part 1, you're like, wait a minute. Dune Part 1. And it's actually shorter than the James Bond movie I saw last week. So which is fascinating. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
I know it had a 50% drop this week. Yeah, I had to tell people, they're like, oh, Dune will be over, it's a one and done. I was like, have you looked at the book? Do you know how big it is?
Yeah. If you look at the runtime and you look at the book, there's no way you can think that you can fit all that in.
Which was the detriment of the David Lynch movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's why Jodorowsky wanted to make a 14-hour movie, right? With
he did negotiate down to 12 hours. He negotiated with himself, but he negotiated down to it.
That's right.
Like I want them to make an animated version of his version.
Yeah, I was thinking like I just started following Peter Chung, who was the guy that did Aeon Flux. Yeah, I was looking at his work today, and like Mobius did a lot of designs for that Jodorowsky Dune while it was in pre-production, and I'm thinking like, yeah, Peter Chung spearheading an animated Dune would probably look really cool, something like that, or somebody like that could look really cool.
Was it Chris Sprouse who did all the Matrix storyboards?
Oh, Steve Skroce.
Steve Skroce, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are awesome. Yeah.
I could see that also, like him having that kind of,
mm-hmm.
Or like my own personal like beauty would be Sienkiewicz doing like this complete painted mural of just the whole storyboard.
Oh yeah, I would want the Art of Dune. I mean, that's what I want. I want that Jodorowsky, the book that they put together.
They made a mistake not putting out a limited run of that book.
Yeah, I'll buy it. I'll spend $100.
It would have been $1,000, I'm sure, or $500, because just looking at how.
Yeah, it's a lot of paper.
Yeah, it was a big boy. And by the way, just putting it out there for anybody who is looking to buy books for the holidays, there is a huge paper shortage. So they're not going to be doing reprints. So get your pre-orders in now. Like I just saw that one of the biggest printers for comic books basically said they're running out of paper, which kind of a big problem.
That's a problem. You need those for comic books.
Yeah, and I started wondering, are they going to go back to the old pulp paper just to get something out? Like,
oh man, I would love if that happened for like 2 months or 4 months or whatever. Like, I can only imagine what Twitter would be like. Paying $4.99 for newsprint. People would be losing their shit. It'd be amazing. Yeah. It'd be an amazing time.
Honestly, like people having physical copies of anything would be unique, because I have a feeling they'd be like, guess what, guys? It's all digital for right now. We'll put out a collected edition later.
Yeah, totally.
I'm going to try and hold out for Jen to come as long as possible. I know she said she was going to be a skosh late. Sid, if there's anything in the chat you'd like to add, I know you're out there.
Yeah, definitely fact check us, because I read it, I promise, but sometimes little details fall through my head. So
it's weird. It's been 20 years since I last read this. I forgot how heavy these last chapters were of nothing but Paul.
Yeah.
And then I had the son of a bitch, George Lucas really ripped them the fuck off.
I think I mentioned in the last one, like I think at the Hugo Awards, Frank Herbert starting a People Who George Lucas Owes Money club, which is,
like I started laughing because I was like, God, the only thing missing was like him telling someone that he had the high ground. Like, what the fuck?
No, absolutely. I was saying too, I just did a Matrix rewatch, and not to get ahead of us in the book, but Paul loses his eyes, right? And Neo in the third Matrix movie loses his eyes. And I just couldn't help but like see those, like, and who knows if the Wachowskis, like, what their relationship with Dune was, if that was something. I mean, maybe it had more to do with like Oedipus. Maybe it had more to do, and maybe like Frank Herbert was thinking of Oedipus, or who knows, or it was just a literal like, juxtaposition of his physical sight versus his prescience and how that relates to each other.
I just saw that Matrix trailer the other night when I was at the movies.
Yeah,
I have no idea what to think. Like, because I just remember it was diminishing returns on every movie after the first one.
Yeah, it was on the rewatch. I was prepared to like, okay, I'm gonna go with this with an open mind. They were still. I think I spotted the issue. Like, if they had another pass at that screenplay, I would say get rid of the Merovingian, that whole thing. Yeah. I don't like criticisms that are like, this is how I would make the movie, but I'm doing it now, which is get rid of the Merovingian. And then I think you tighten it up at least.
I think that was my big issue, is that it kind of was a high on your own supply. And at the time, like, was it New Line or who? I forget what company was putting it out.
It wasn't Miramax, but no, I think you're right. It was New Line. I think you're right about that.
They basically were like, the first one was so successful, you guys know what you're doing. Here's a blank check.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which I just found actually a great podcast called Blank Check.
Oh, yes. I've heard of this podcast.
And it's about like going through a director's category after their first hit of movies they put out. They're doing the whole John Carpenter series now. And they just finished Christine.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So like it's been fascinating because they had someone on for Big Trouble in Little China. They had the guys from How Did This Get Made on.
Oh, nice. I love that. I like that movie. It's got obviously has some issues, but it's super fun.
It's one of my favorite movies. Christine also I think is highly underrated as a horror movie. I think it's well made.
I have not seen that in a minute. Is it in the expanded Maximum Overdrive universe, or am I just like remembering?
I didn't know there was an expanded Maximum Overdrive
I don't think there is, but evil cars, I guess, right?
But there is a fantastic interview. I want to say it was on In Search of Darkness, talking about Maximum Overdrive, where they're like, even Stephen King says no one should have let me make that movie. I was too high on cocaine.
Right, he did a lot of cocaine around then. Like mountains of cocaine.
Tom Atkins talking about how when they're making Creepshow, in it he smacks Joe Hill at the time, who was a child.
Oh yeah, right.
And Stephen King walks up to him, and Tom Atkins like, oh god, he's gonna say I'm too rough with his son. He walks up and he goes, "Hey, what was it like making out with Jamie Lee Curtis in The Fog?" That's what he came up to ask him. Like, just
oh my god,
the weird shit of it.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, so like there was a point where Dreamcatcher, he was high on opioids the whole time directing that, and that's where the shit weasel came from, because he was constipated.
Right. Man.
Like, oh boy. Anyway, let's
the
start
demons.
The book.
Yeah. Get into Dune Messiah.
So we were on mine 226.
Yes.
We get some interesting insight with the first part of the chapter into Paul's being emperor. Production growth and income growth must not get out of step in my empire. This is the substance of my command. There are to be no balance of payment difficulties between the different spheres of influence. And the reason for this is simply because I command it.
Yeah.
I want to emphasize my authority in this area. I am the supreme energy eater of this domain and will remain so. Alive or dead, my government is the economy. Yeah,
just a real flex.
Right there. Like this is the hero to villain, like 100%.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think it's interesting too with these prologues. Some of them feel like they relate more to the chapter that's coming than others. Like this one, I felt a little bit of whiplash specifically, where I was like, how does this relate to wandering into this town and finding a little dwarf that can remember everything?
I kind of feel like this was him reading the news, and I wondered if that was when the gas shortage was coming up.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Well, that would have been later, I think.
That was Jimmy Carter, like, never 69. Mind.
Yeah, but it could have been some other like Nixon thing, right? This would have been the Nixon era. I think,
yeah,
right?
Although he doesn't fit into the charismatic leader. I don't think a lot of people love Nixon.
No, probably not. Even, I don't think that you would. That'd be a stretch. He was more of a...
Nixon would be a Harkonnen guy.
Yeah, exactly. He's more of a just like take advantage of strife and disaster.
So I love here that Paul's guide, he went with a guide to go to Othium's house.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going into a suburb that apparently he's like, ugh, like, why is this here? Like, this is the desert. Like, even Paul's like questioning the shit that happened under his watch.
Yeah, they're gentrifying the desert. They're gentrifying the desert. There's like a Starbucks going up. There's like a high rise in the desert now.
A Spice Bucks. I don't know.
Yeah, a Spice Bucks, exactly.
And like, there's this really shitty thing where he's like, his guide slipped away in darkness, and Paul's like, oh yeah, there'll be security men to take him immediately. I was like, you fucking asshole. Like,
yeah, I know. It's just so, yeah. He's got BDE for sure, right?
But then he goes in there. He's like, yeah, the stars overhead and the distant light of the first moon somewhere beyond the Sheol. But this place was not the open desert where a man could sight on a star to guide his course. like it's weird how he gets from like asshole to, yeah, remember when this wasn't here? Like,
Yeah, remember the good old days when I was which is funny because I mean that's one thing about Paul, like coming from privilege, being this like rich aristocrat kid, but then like being taken in by the Fremen and kind of like recreating his identity constantly, and like how he's like had so many identities. I think at this point that nostalgia, like is it as earned for him, rather than the people that have lived here for however centuries, right? It's interesting, like his mind, and also his mind generally, like with his prescience and
the mentat.
The mentat, also like all of that stuff, how that affects I mean that maybe it's not so much his character, but just what's going through his head is just fascinating.
I found myself wondering if he was self-sabotaging more than anything else.
Yeah, there are hints of that, I think. I mean, there's definitely, I mean, we know going into all of this that he's aware of disaster looming, right? Similar to, again, to like, I like to talk about the echoes between the two books. Like, Leto knew that was a trap they were going into. He knew that disaster was coming. Like, I think, in the previous chapters, he mentions, how Chani's pregnant finally, and he knows that she's going to die, but he's also like, letting Irulan off because like, oh, she actually bought you time. Like, actually, you should be in a way like glad she gave us more time. Like,
yeah, and like later on, like he starts talking about how he messed with the paths to buy extra time, and no matter what, he was going to be caught in this trap.
Yeah, and we'll kind of get to some Chani stuff later, and like their relationship that I'm thinking of, like in later chapters. But I do think that that's just this like remove he has, especially in this last third of the book. It's like sort of, it's creepy. It's also just sort of frustrating, because you're like, if you're this powerful, like maybe you could have figured out a way out of this. Maybe you could have figured out a way to like better everybody's life, but maybe not.
Talk about the oracles and the Dune tarot fucking with him.
Yeah, right. That's true.
He talks about this. The air around him was thick with the smell of a reclamation still. The thing must be poorly kept for its fetid odors to escape, losing a dangerously wasteful amount of moisture into the night air. How careless his people had grown, Paul thought. Yeah. They were millionaires of water, forgetful of the days when a man on Arrakis could have been killed for just an eighth share of the water in his body.
I do think you reading that, it makes me realize, oh, hello. It makes me realize, like, I kind of just like went by that part, and then you think back, like, oh yeah, reclamation still. That means they threw a body in there to get its water out. Like, that's not just any still. It's not like a whiskey still. There's a corpse in there.
Whiskey barrel aged water. Do you think that they would like get drunk off that?
Yeah, maybe they might.
He's beginning his transformation to a cryptid.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Exactly.
But like, I like that. Like, we're just starting this chapter, and he's already like, these fucking people, like they got so wasteful under my watch. And I'm just like, yeah, dude, like you could have probably changed this, but feel free to just keep bitching about what you didn't do. And he's just like, and he's walking. He's like, why am I hesitating? It is the second door from the far end. I knew that without being told, but this thing must be played out with precision. So I hesitate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just more sad boy Paul, really. I mean, classic sad boy shit.
I have an issue with some of the sad boyness.
Okay.
Because I feel like, and this is gonna I'm not gonna spoil exactly what it is, but there's sad boyness, but not when it counts.
Oh, no. We just right before you came on, I think I was hinting at that. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
I think it's because he already knows it's gonna happen. Like, he's seen it so many times.
He knows everything that's going to happen. Not everything, because there's blind spots, and then he becomes blind. Sorry, but like, I don't know. At the same time, anyways, we'll talk about that later. To be continued.
No, for sure. Yeah, let's come back to that for sure.
Paul starts talking about remembering water falling from the sky when he was on Caladan and how muddy boots.
Yes. I think
he notices people's muddy boots. Like it's something that happens several times.
And that's like a wasteful thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, I did this. Like, there's a lot of that. Like, I shouldn't have done this, but I did it because this is the way. He gets very Mandalorian.
He's a Mando.
Yeah.
He's a sad Mando.
Oh,
sad Mando.
The door opens to his knock, and a dwarf peers out, ancient face on a child's body, an apparition prescience had never seen. So
do you think
already the gaps in his prescience are...
I feel like Lynch should have made this movie,
Yeah.
Famously dwarf in a David Lynch film or show.
This would be more This would have been more in his wheelhouse because it's kind of a little bit mystical and a little bit of religion and a little bit of self-destruction. Or Cormac McCarthy should have wrote it.
Oh yeah. Cormac McCarthy does the screenplay. Lynch directs.
As I've been reading this, I really feel like David Lynch did get a lot of stuff for the 1984 Dune from this, because we don't get to see any of the like the Tleilaxu or anything like that in the first book, but we obviously like see one in the first part of the Dune, or like the Guild Navigator.
It was the Guild Navigator.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I really think that, and there was a couple other things, I can't remember what it was, but there were a couple things from this book, and I'm just like, okay, so he clearly skipped ahead on the assignment and like was trying to get some extra credit points from the professor. I see you, David Lynch.
Yeah. And Dino De Laurentiis didn't want any of that.
Yeah.
He wanted
2 hours.
Yeah, he wanted Star Wars and Conan smashed together. Who could blame him?
Paul gets freaked out because the dwarf is like, oh, they await sire. And he's like, how does he know me? Like, I've already not seen this guy in my visions, and now he knows who I am.
Yeah, he's like, there wasn't a dwarf. Yeah.
We find out what the spitting disease is.
Oh, yes.
With Othium, with his wife, Dura,
yeah.
And he's like,
Duri.
Duri. Yeah, your daughter's dead, by the way. But
by the way,
playing this game.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. So this part of the book, I did like half and half, where I did half on the audiobook and then half like actually reading it. So the first like 3 chapters I listened to and realized I cannot do this. Like my brain is going everywhere. I'm not paying attention. And these like first 3 chapters are a blur to me and so I don't actually like remember some of those parts because my brain like trailed off.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting to like, speaking of that, to some of the formal aspects of this, like the previous chapter, like so the last chapter we did previously, and then this chapter and the next chapter, I feel like it's a little unique, especially in this book, but I think in the other books, because they're just kind of boom, boom, boom event wise, right? It's like this happens, the next chapter is the next event, which typically he's changing like point of view and setting and everything chapter to chapter. And here it's like boom, 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 Paul like goes, sees Aaliyah being scary, goes into the town, and then, what comes next after that.
Yeah.
Also, like Othium and his wife keep using the Fremen rights against Paul, where Paul's like, well, I have to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that they're greeting, good luck to you and your dwelling place. And he notes that they sold their stuff to pilgrims to get money.
Any notes on interior design here or home improvement?
Muad'Dib always answers the call of a Fadakin. I was like,
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
And the woman's like, yeah, so Stilgar says. Whatever.
So Stilgar says, like, do you have an intimate relationship with Stilgar? Like, how do you know Stilgar?
I liked also that they say that her hair was gray, nose grown witch sharp.
Yeah, rude.
Yeah. Paul remembered her name, Dury. The shock was he remembered her as a child, not as she'd been in this vision at the moment. It was the whine that edged her voice. She whined even as a child. I was like, bro, like...
Yeah.
She's like a 3 Chardonnays deep, like, hey.
Rosé all day.
Yeah, hey, moi deep.
Real Housewives of Siege Tabar.
Yeah, oh God.
God.
Is that what the Benny Gesserit show is going to be? It's actually going to be that?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's like...
It's just the breeding program. All right, which one of you are going to fuck the Harkonnen? Because, like, I don't want to do it.
I'm just imagining that, sorry, whenever Dan and I first did our first Dune show together, and I think it was towards the end of the video, and or the end of the stream, and I think this is when Dan, I think that he knew that I was going to be a little bit too much, and bless him for inviting me back.
Oh no, we were on the same wavelength because my brain goes to those places.
So I just go like, what would the Dune porn parody be like? So now all I can think of is that there should be an entire Bene Gesserit porn series. So
yeah, I was going to come on here actually and do a whole bit about how I saw the movie, and then I was like, but it was weird because it's mostly the orgy, and like I thought it was going to be an IMAX, but it was in this weird theater that like was like really in a weird part of town. There's a lot of dudes by themselves in there. I was kind of, I don't know.
Like sitting alone.
Yeah, and I was just like really confused. I was like, this is not what I thought Denis Villeneuve was going to do, but I guess 5 stars.
5 stars.
to be honest, I just ended up Benny Gesserit. All right. So.
Hey, pretty good. Pretty good.
Ooh, yes, thank
you.
Yeah,
or Gesserit. Solid.
The sisterhood of strokes.
So Duncan is the hoe.
I made.
Sorry.
Yes.
You're trying to make like a good point, and I'm just
2 girls, 1 spice cup.
Oh.
That's just the short that's like floats around the internet secretly.
Yeah.
So I did to John what you thought you did to me, like in that first episode. Like we were just talking about Seven.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, like they talked about Fincher doing the girl with the dragon tattoo, and I was like, God bless that Foley artist with that squish sound when they shoved that dildo up the guy's ass. And John goes, I never thought I'd hear that line spoken. He's like, that might be the line of the night.
Someone has to make that sound.
Yeah,
or cinema,
and you know what?
Or cinema.
Like I was talking, that guy probably got up and like, I did that. That was me.
Yeah, like
about like yes.
It took 5 tries to get that right squish, but I found it.
He's like, I had to do the method.
Him and the Foley artist from Don't Breathe when the turkey baster came out with the man gravy. He's like,
oh no.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Anyway, the jazz.
The show got real weird. John was really thankful he came on to talk about Seven.
I bet.
Yeah, this guy, I caught the spitting disease on Tara Hill, he wheezed, right after the victory when we'd all... The tribe will collect his water soon. And they're going to throw him in that vat that's not fucking closed.
Yeah,
right?
The stinky vat over there down the street.
Paul's like, I'll summon doctors. She's like, we've had medical men.
Mm-hmm.
As good as any men you could summon. Like, Dury is just
they don't
such
know.
a, like...
She's just ready for him to... Yeah, she's ready for him to go. Like, you can tell, I think. She's just like, yeah, it's over. They're very... I mean, that's the thing with Fremen. They're just very like, you got to move on. When it's time for death, let's just get this over with, right?
They say, like, Paul's getting edgy.
Yeah.
It's like, say what you want of me. I'm getting a little angry.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, couldn't it be that Othium needed a friend to stand by him in this time? Does a Fadakin have to consign his flesh to strangers?
Yeah.
And Paul's like, what I can do, I will do. I'm just like, she is guilt tripping the shit out of him, and he's feeling it. He's already in the mood.
Oh, yeah.
And as we know from the first book, he's prone to being in moods.
Oh yeah, he's always constantly in moods. Constantly in moods. It's so hard being Muad'Dib, being the Mahdi, being the Lisan al-Gaib, being all those things.
And like basically Othium's like, there's treachery, Usul, Fremen plot against you. And Paul's only just staring, going, man, I hope Chani never looks at me like that. Like literally that's where his mind goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He doesn't want to be, and maybe that feeds into this. Yeah, he doesn't want to be the old, dying, sickly person either.
And then Othium's like, oh, my dwarf. I bought him on a world, I don't know, I forget. He's a human distrans, a toy discarded by the Tleilaxu.
Yeah.
He recorded all the names of the traitors.
No big deal.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, Lichna, the real daughter, had perished in the desert. A Samuda racked body abandoned to the sand and the wind.
Mm-hmm.
I just like how he has no fucking sympathy. He's like,
no.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's just fulfilling the oracle, right? I mean, he's just trying to go through the motions.
I want to see the act of Samuda. Like, I want to see how this happens. Like, this music that is a drug.
Yes. So I read I think I saw it in like Vanity Fair. I can't remember. I brought it up here, but like Villeneuve plans to make a 3 movies.
Oh.
And he wants to do Messiah as the 3rd.
I can only hope it's Gloria Estefan's Rhythm Is Gonna Get You, just kind of repeatedly.
I know. And I want to know what that sounds like in these movies, because again, not to like go too into it, but like the sound, the score is just out of control, and what they do with music is awesome. So I can only imagine what touching on Samuda music in that movie would be like.
Yeah, I also like Paul's like, you could have come to me at any time, and you fucking show up now and you offer me a dwarf. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Weird gift.
I feel like the way that they treat the dwarf, I'm still, I don't know, it didn't feel right.
In what way?
Even though,
just generally,
like the dwarf was evil, but I feel
yeah,
or I don't know, I didn't appreciate. Maybe it's because in this part is when I'm listening to the audiobook, and the way that they have the dwarf's voice is just
high-pitched.
Like high-pitched and like it reminds me of Moaning Myrtle, and that Moaning Myrtle is actually how I would describe how the voice actor for the audiobook did
See, I read this
Alia.
I read this as
really?
Face from Game of Thrones, the books.
Nope, they definitely do like a whiny like.
It was the weird rhyming, just reading it, not the audio, but like the way I read it was as Patchface from Game of Thrones, which Patchface is one of the most annoying fucking characters.
I'm rewatching Game of Thrones right now. I know that's like tangent, but I'm rewatching
Gambit is
it.
too.
It's like surprising. Like I'm on season 3, and I'm here to say season 3 of Game of Thrones is the best season of like cinema TV ever.
Yeah, that's where it hits. Yeah, for sure.
See, like I love the Oberyn season because Pedro Pascal is Oberyn the Red Viper. I couldn't have imagined anybody better playing that character.
I hear you on that.
With how poly he is.
I love the polyamorousness of all the people there, but I will tell you, season 3 is the season where we get Daenerys going Dracarys all over the slavers. We get the Red Wedding. We get Jaime's hand chopped off. We get the Arya and the Hound travel show. Best season ever. Sorry, I know I'm derailing, but
no, totally.
I'm gonna eat all that chicken.
Agreed. Yeah, totally.
I think this is before that, because they're doing a little bit of we get the Beric Dondarrion and the fire sword and stuff. So season 3, so this isn't the chicken season, but it's
I think season 4 also had that scene with the Jaime in the sauna or hot water with the
with Brienne. That's 4, isn't it?
I think that's also season 3.
Oh,
I'm almost positive that's season 3.
Was that right after he loses his hand? Yeah, yeah.
That part with him and Brian in the tub where he admits what happened.
Why he's called Kingslayer.
Yes.
And it's funny because I do believe that happens because the Red Wedding is the penultimate episode of that season.
It happens before it, I think.
It happens before the Red Wedding. And so it's so funny because, like, you know, we're talking about kinslayers and how people who are kinslayers are cursed. And, like, we see Jaime. Anyway, I could do a whole discussion on Game of Thrones, but this is Dune. So I'm sorry. I'll stop.
It's in our wheelhouse of going off topic. It's kind of what we do. Paul's just like get me the dwarf. I want to leave. Like let's do this.
Yeah, let's get out of here. Let's take this guy.
And then Duri's like, oh, we can't leave. Only you and the dwarf can. It's like, okay, this isn't sketchy at all. Now,
this dwarf I didn't see in my vision. Now I'm the only one. I have to leave with him. Cool.
But he rationalized. He's like, I know I get the list of the traitors.
Yeah.
Not how, but I know I get the list.
Pros list. Cons, creepy dwarf going outside into unknown territory.
Yeah.
Cost benefit analysis.
And Paul's like, I was wrong to hope, Paul thought, but thinking of hope brought him a twisted sense of hope, and he felt that he might yet seize his moment. And again, he's like, summon the dwarf. God damn, like, the dwarf kind of speaks and runs. You have a new master, Bajaz. You may call him Usul.
Yep. I like that he calls him Usul like that too. Like they go back to his siege name, right? Like his
pillar of the siege.
Yeah.
That's the base of the pillar. How can Usul be base when I'm the basest thing living?
Right. The way he talks.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me think of too, like the toys in Blade Runner that what's
like
his name has.
Horse.
Yeah. Well, and like the little like the JF Sebastian, like he builds toys, right? And there's the little like people that like the marching guy, how it's like a human toy, or you know what I like. That's all that stuff is so the weirdness of that. That's one thing I really like about Dune is that with the weirdness of these like organic technology people. You know what I mean?
I wait for the day that someone tries to give me the test from Blade Runner. I've never been more ready.
Yeah.
The Voight Comp test.
Yeah, the Voight Comp test. Yeah.
So you see a turtle in the road. It's upside down. What do you do?
They need to make the questions easier to follow. That's for one thing, because I just would get lost. I'm like, I guess I would keep going because I'm late for work.
If the questions are hard, I have your test results, sir.
Damn it.
Got him.
Oh, busted.
Yep.
That's really why that guy shot him, because he wouldn't just shut up with the questions.
It's like, damn it.
I like that Paul keeps like kind of procrastinating and the dwarf starts sweating. Bajaz's like, well, we must leave. He goes, we got time. Like I got nothing but time.
Yeah. Like what? Getting suspicious.
There also is a little bit, I'm a person, you know. Persons come in many shapes and sizes. This be but one of them. I'm weak of muscle, but strong of mouth. Cheap to feed, but costly to fill. Empty me as you will. There's still more in me than men put there.
He's got his own dreams and aspirations.
I'm thinking he's got like a side hustle of like an OnlyFans / like sex worker thing going on where he's like, I'm more than what men put inside me.
And Paul's like, oh, you've got truth sense.
Yeah, he's also a notary public.
He's an accountant.
Yeah, he's an accountant. That's what ties it into the excerpt in the beginning where they're talking about the economy. Now that's where it comes full circle.
Yep. I was like, I don't have truth sense. I've got now sense. Like we should be leaving now.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna use that forevermore.
Yeah.
Whenever I need to like leave a place, I'm gonna be like, we need to leave now.
Yeah. My now sense is
my now
tingling.
sense is
my now sense is tingling. What's that? It means I gotta leave.
Yeah, I
gotta leave now.
Right now. RN.
There's but a thin line between many an enemy and many a friend. Where that line stops, there's no beginning and no end. Let's end it, my friends. And Paul's like, what's now sense? Now. Let us go now. And I'm just thinking of Spaceballs.
Oh, yeah.
Well, where are we? We're right now. Well,
Oh yeah, with the cameras like going it through time and yeah.
Just knew the Dune series, and on God Emperor, oh buddy.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jaws, he's kind of annoying to me. All I have to say is that either the little dude from Jackass should play him or Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage, I 100%.
Yeah.
I think Wee Man is dead.
No, Wee Man's around. He's in the trailer. He's in the trailer for the
no. I'm thinking of the Austin Powers.
Vern Troyer, right?
Troyer, yeah. Or what's his name? Who played Willow?
Oh yes.
Oh, Warwick Davis.
Davis. Thank you. Did you watch his documentary?
Yes.
No, I should watch that though. I love
so
Warwick Davis.
good. Yeah, it's so.
I was playing trivia with a friend in college, and I got Warwick Davis as an answer, and then every time anything tangentially related to Warwick Davis come up, or even just sometimes randomly, that friend would just point at me Warwick Davis. It just just like that.
And passerby are like, what the fuck?
What is happening?
Bitch says I fear the Paul's like, what do you fear? He's like, I fear the spirit seeking me now. Perspiration stood out on his forehead, his cheeks twitched. I fear the one who thinks not and will have no body except mine, and that one gone back into itself. I fear the things I see and the things I do not see. Paul's like, this dwarf's got prescience, motherfucker.
Yeah, right.
It's like, damn it. So that's probably why he couldn't see the dwarf, right? Because maybe he blocked it.
Yeah, like a navigator, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it must be because like a navigator it has.
Why don't we have Dune tarot cards, by the way? Why have I not seen these out in the wild?
That's what I'm saying, because they've clearly had decades to sell this merchandise to me.
Becky Cloonan, please get on this.
Oh my God, yeah.
Ooh, I bought her not tarot cards, but her prophecy cards last year, and they are beautiful.
Yeah.
By the way, did you see all the Jack Kirby slander going on Twitter?
Oh, don't get me started. Started.
I haven't seen the Jack Kirby
because of the Eternals trailer.
I think that the only thing that I've seen, which I really appreciate, is I've only seen people lifting Jack Kirby up. Yeah. And I think that that speaks volumes about the people that I follow, the people that in comic bookdom that I surround myself with, because I assure you, anyone who would slander Jack Kirby, I would just be like, we're not friends. But I mean, I am that person that's like, fuck Fantastic Four. So,
there's a difference between recognizing the value of his contribution and being rightly critical of the stories of the Fantastic Four, especially early on. I think that those are, I think that's totally fair.
So if you can do 8 pages,
stay away, CGers.
Yeah.
If you can do 8 pages a day, then you should be doing multiple books like he was.
Yeah.
So yes, he reused backgrounds. Guess what? He was trying to feed his family during a fucking horrible time.
Did he reuse backgrounds? I don't even know. See, I don't even want to. I don't even think. I can't.
He straight up admitted it. He's like, "Oh yeah, I was doing 8 pages a day, so yeah, I'd reuse a building."
Yeah.
So my thing is, how do you even know what there is that is lacking? Because to me, it's every page is a treasure that we should just be glad we got. You know what I mean? But anyway, I could probably rant on that for a million years.
You have an energy thing named after you called the Kirby Crackle.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He invented the language of modern superhero comics. Show some respect, nerds.
Yeah. Do you even read comics?
Yeah. Do you even know who Anoran Rad is?
Oh, jeez.
I just saw coming out Penguin Classics graphic novels.
Yeah.
For Marvel.
I love that.
Oh.
I love that.
I saw the Ditko Doctor Strange. I was like, yes, please.
You're picking up the slack because Marvel sucks ass at putting out hardcovers.
Yeah.
Are they supposed to be hardcovers?
Nope.
Yeah. Well, they're both. They're hardcovers and they're both. There'll be hardcovers and soft covers of them.
Because I have a couple. I got one a couple weeks ago that's X-Men Volume 1, so it's the classic X-Men. It's tiny, so it's smaller, but it's the original and they're colored.
It's the way they did. It's the way they put out the Runaways graphic novels when they came out.
Oh, they kind of almost digest.
Almost digest size.
Yeah, that's exactly what this. Yeah. I feel I'm it's right here. Where are you at? Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Which was smart because of the audience they were going after.
Mm-hmm.
I have no cool books within my vicinity to grab.
Oh my god, I've got piles of books. It's
Yeah,
disgusting.
I have piles of books, but yeah, don't look to the left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
I've
to
got
get
like
new.
literally from
I
here
do
down.
have. I will
to get
just
new
say,
bookshelves.
yeah. So yeah, I'll prove
Okay.
my bona fides. Just like
Okay.
come at me,
Ooh.
nerds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
So yeah. Anyway, like do your research on Jack Kirby before you're gonna start fucking going and slandering him.
Yeah. Don't come at the king. You come at the king, you best not miss, and you're gonna.
He was
miss.
mistreated
So
by both companies. He got fired from his own fucking book at DC after they
Yeah,
invited him to come make new gods.
Yeah. Yes.
And then they presumed to keep using it. So
It's one where I had to rescue this from a table that was selling like $1 for a comic.
Did you get that at Rose City or somewhere else?
No, this was at Rose City like 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
It's in terrible condition, but I don't care. I was like, I can't leave this here. I can't leave that.
I have like an issue of like X-Men versus Avengers that is in the most horrible copy that I got for $20, and it's in a horrible shape, but I'm like, I need to rescue this and bring it to a good home. Sorry.
Yeah.
We're totally derailing, but
totally. Sorry. You did bring up the Jack Kirby slander, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I couldn't, because like I just kept seeing it today.
Yeah.
I'm like, motherfuckers! Like
it's
every couple of years, this shit comes up.
It's gross.
And
I don't want to. My criticisms will sound too gatekeepy, so I'll just keep them to myself because I don't want to be a gatekeeper.
It's between that and Rob Liefeld crowing about profit being made into a movie.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have this book literally right here. Staring at me, so I'm just gonna put that right there.
Yeah.
Next to all of the marbles.
Ooh. Yeah, I've been meaning to get that one.
Paul has a line here that I think is very interesting. Every minute I linger defers my guilt.
Yes.
I think that he especially feels that way about Chani. Like, I mean, maybe that line was about Chani specifically, but I feel like that's definitely how he feels about Chani because in this prescience, he sees that she's going to die, and he keeps wanting to put it off. And it, like, even in the last read, when it's like she is like talking about like, I'm gonna have these babies or baby.
Yeah, didn't tell Paul that like Prescience didn't see that shit.
Dose babies.
Dos babies. Dos bambinos.
Dos bambinos. Yeah, I don't know. My Spanish is muy mal.
Muy poquito español.
Paul gets really like into his like live journal here with
a
worm's poisonous breath, its teeth dripping dust had washed over him. It happened long ago, but he inhaled the memory of it now. Spice and bitterness. He could sense his own worm waiting, the urn of the desert.
Yeah. Like he knows at this point.
Yeah.
Like
that is a live journal entry if I ever heard one.
Yeah, that dread that just goes through this last third. I think that's something I like about this one specifically. It's just it's like so sad and so just going into darkness of and that sometimes I want that out of a story.
And I think that that's definitely I don't know, maybe we talked about it on the first part of this read, but it's coming to me now where like that trope where it's like if a gun is pulled in the first act, it'll be used in like the fourth or fifth. Well, like when I think about that line specifically, I think about them going to the desert and flying over his father's grave in the desert.
Right. That's where my dad's skull is.
That's where my dad's skull is. He's in that desert too. And then we'll get to why that is important.
Delay serves no purpose, Dury said. Do what you must, Usul, Othium wheezed. Paul sighed. The words of the vision had been spoken. There'll be an accounting, he said, to complete it. Turning, he strode from the room, heard Bajaz's foot slapping behind. Bygones, bygones. Let bygones fall where they may. This has been a dirty day.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Gore. Yeah. Love this shirt.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
The Hernandez brothers.
Yeah.
It's such a great book, and that went on for a while, on and off.
Oh, it's still going on. Hope he and Maggie are still doing stuff.
The This
Oh yeah, here we go.
This next chapter is
hard.
fucking.
This is rough.
What? Sorry, can you tell me what page we're on?
Like
or
237, I think, in your edition.
I'm on 241.
Yes,
Okay,
I think because I have the same one as you. It's at 237, I think.
I thought we were so much farther than that.
It's addenda to orders in council is the chapter start.
Yes. Mm-hmm. First moon stood high over the city, which lots of moon imagery again because of the vision
and the
seeing the moon fall.
Yep.
Yeah, really hitting that hard.
You sense danger? I know danger. I'm just like, oh, God, like
it's my middle name. I'm surprised you didn't say that.
Paul Danger Atreides.
Like even the first part is like the convoluted wording of legalisms grew up around the necessity to hide from ourselves the violence we intend towards each other. Between depriving a man of 1 hour from his life and depriving him of his life, there exists only a difference of degree. You've done violence to him, consumed his energy. Elaborate euphemisms may conceal your intent to kill. But behind any use of power over another, the ultimate assumption remains, I feed on your energy.
Mm-hmm.
Someone went to some counseling.
I hope they did.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Get counseling if you can. It helps.
Like that feels like this Nixon era is really fucking with me. So like, well, actually, this might have been Lyndon Johnson even.
Was it 16? When was it? 69?
68.
68. So he's probably so he was writing it in 67, 66.
Yeah.
So that would have been Johnson, yeah.
Like security guards enveloped Paul. Orders were given to send men down the street towards the house beyond Othium's. The men hurried to obey, shadows among shadows. And Paul's like, more sacrifices. And I have to say, the stone burner is probably the most insidious device. The fact that it's radiation, it either cracks a planet or blows your eyeballs out.
Yeah. Doesn't it like burn them out? Isn't it like, I feel like the way they describe it, which is so, it probably doesn't make sense scientifically, but it sounds like the way I understood it was just that it like attacks the soft tissue of your eyes and just burns them out, but like leaves you or something. Like it's just a weird thing, right? Like of all the among many other weird things in Dune.
What does it do to your butthole?
Probably not great for your butthole.
Would it be the same thing? Like, is there going to be like prolapse? That's
Maybe.
what I also imagine. Like, that's also sorry.
Well, it just bleaches it.
Yeah. Well, it says a lot about Paul that he covered his butthole and not his eyes. Then. So.
Yep. He's like, I gotta reclaim my water somehow.
But I gotta
this still suit ain't gonna feed itself.
Exactly.
The thigh pads need processing.
The eyes are not pulling their weight in the still suit, but my butthole for sure.
Like, and it bothers me because like Paul doesn't cover his eyes. Like he doesn't put a wrap around it.
Well, I don't think it would have done anything, but yeah, he doesn't do his shit. He just gives in to the whole thing.
But like Paul just telling us like everybody's screaming and Paul's like, yeah, like just keep your eyes down. The Talaxa will sell many eyes here. Now shut up and wait.
Yeah, I love that that's like his second thought is like, well, cash money for the Talaxu.
Yeah.
Which it really is like that is kind of if you want to like really simplify things, and this is getting ahead a little bit, but a lot of this book is like the Tleilaxu trying to market their goods to people.
Yeah.
And make money.
I also like that he's like, man, if there's more fuel in this and it cuts into the planet's core, it's not gonna be good.
It's bad. Yeah.
Are the Tleilaxu? Are they the like Ferengi of this universe? Did we talk about that?
Yeah, they're definitely, and they're definitely more like Deep Space Nine Ferengi more than the what is it that first like so hunched over furry caped ones.
Are the Harkonnens the Klingons?
No, I think
they're more
Fremens,
the Fremen are more like, I would say that Harkonnens are. I want to give them Cardassian. You know, I want to be like
they're Cardassian, and then the Bajorans. The Fremen are the Bajorans.
Oh, potentially, sure, yeah. I could see that, yeah.
And
so are the Karinos calm?
Are the Fedakin? The
Fedakin?
The Fedakin would maybe be the Klingons, right?
Yeah, potentially. I guess I could see. I mean, they're part of the Fremen, right?
Give me the Bird of Prey. Bird of Prey is still like the best fucking ship in the whole Star Trek universe.
pretty sick. I mean, I always liked the Defiant a lot, though. The first time I saw the Defiant, I was like, "That's the ship for me."
Yes, you can take this book and put it into any sci-fi.
Yeah,
it's true because they've all stolen.
Because it came before all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. This would have been parallel with Star Trek, to be fair.
Yeah,
Fuck, man.
I
Give
doubt
me
it
Ricardo Montalban Khan as Stilgar back in the day.
Ooh,
yeah.
Totally.
Oh God,
I could see that. That
so,
works.
Just putting it out there for you, Jodorowsky. Like, if, you're ever gonna
get up your ass,
go back in time and make the 12-hour movie.
Make it Star Trek.
Oh shit.
Jodorowsky Star Trek.
Oh man, wow. What would
he would have cast himself as Kirk?
Done.
Sure.
Yep.
Let's do it. Let's see it. I'm into it.
I violated the Prime Directive 7 times just this week.
Does the Prime Directive mean anything anymore?
No, but beating the unbeatable puzzle.
The
Kobayashi Maru. Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Can I just say, the level of nerdiness on this show right now, like anyone else who's
pretty
like
high.
A casual nerd is like, what the fuck are these people saying right now? And we're just like, Kobayashi Maru, Warwick Davis.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
And this is even without Sid.
Yeah.
Oh, the great William Shatner. He has done it all. He's been in space.
He's been in space. 90-year-old in space.
Yeah, that's not frightening.
Hey, Elon, how about getting my own warship?
I saw something about that where it was like, what was that show he was on with James Spader? Somebody like talked about him going to space and they referenced that show.
Yes, it was the
Boston Legal. That's what it was.
Yes.
They're like, Boston Legal star William Shatner goes to space. You're like, hold on, guys. Wait a minute. Who wrote this?
Everybody was
and who was the editor?
Everybody was wondering the suck at Picard thing, if that was real or photoshopped.
Sorry. TJ Hooker's William Shatner goes to space.
That went longer.
It did go on. Well, it went longer than Star Trek, I think, even, right?
Was Star Trek like the most rerun show that went 3 seasons?
Probably.
Or did it even go 3 seasons?
That's 3 seasons, I believe. Yeah. Major Tom solid.
Yeah.
Oh no. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds was even better. Or his version of Pulp's Common People.
Oh, he did. Oh, I should check that out. I need to dig that up.
Holy shit. It's him and Ben
Put
Folds.
It on the list. Oh, and Ben Folds. Oh, yeah. They did. Yeah.
You want to be like common people.
Now we're on to Ben Folds. Somebody needs to be a drinking game. Like if we hit the Quint.
Yeah.
I think we've referenced all the nerd things at this point.
If only we can get Kevin Bacon somehow in the 6 degrees, that would be like the trifecta.
There you go. Yeah. There's probably a way.
There's a way.
Yeah. So everybody's screaming my eyes, and Paul's like, I can see. Oh, no.
He's
no,
like,
I can't.
oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Someone go get Stilgar.
Son of a
We
bitch.
need adult supervision.
Yeah.
Literally, supervision.
Like
adult supervision.
Everybody's like, he's just screaming, hold fast, help is coming. This is Muad'Dib. I command you to hold fast.
Yeah. I can't help but as everybody else loses their eyes and then Paul just takes control, right, and leans into the vision. I mean, like it's the most obvious thing to say, but the blind leading the blind, in this they're literalizing it, but also kind of like in a way you think about why they were following him in the first place, which is that he has this prescience, right? And like they can't see it, they just like take it. I mean, he's proves himself in different ways, but they're just following him, and it's kind of goes back to some of these themes of like these charismatic leaders and like, yeah, this guy has this power that you don't even understand, so you just follow him instead of like standing up for yourself, Yeah, I kind of love that.
I feel like when Stilgar finds me, he's like, Usul. Oh.
He's like, buddy.
Well, poor guy.
Do you see, my lord? How can you see?
Yeah,
I see everything.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I was talking about with the Matrix in the third one, where Neo loses his eyes, but then he like still can see the computer stuff.
And
so
he sees it like,
Yeah, and that's how
my body, but not my vision.
Yeah, and so that's sort of how I picture, because I'm kind of constantly trying to sort of understand what this power is like, what these things, and I kind of see it that way of like he is looking out into his mind's eye and seeing, whatever before him. That
I also like his flex here because Stilkar's like, by Fremen law, we got to take your ass out in the desert and let you die.
Right? Yeah, he's like goes right to that. He's like, well, guess we got to take you out in the desert.
But
Paul's like, we live by the Atreides law now.
Yeah.
Do we, Paul?
I can see.
Yeah. Like, I'm not blind. I'm not blind.
Yeah.
Oh, chill out. You're really quick to send me out into the desert there still.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. Exactly. Oh, yeah. Good call, Gore.
See the green.
For sure.
None of these men shall be taken. Talaxi eyes for everyone.
Yeah, I know. I love that. You get an eye, and you get an eye, and you get an eye. It's like Oprahing it. And you know that Tleilaxi are trying to destroy you. I mean, but I guess they're the only ones that make eyes. I mean, this is the classic thing. You go on. Hopefully, you don't get Bezos right now, Jen. But like people, like you can get it on Amazon, but Amazon is the worst. Like that. Yeah. It's the same thing, right? He's like Tleilaxi eyes for everybody. Wait, aren't they trying to like overthrow my empire?
Yeah. Yep.
Call Chani. Tell her I'm alive and we'll be with her soon.
Yeah.
I'm gonna horrify the shit out of her soon too.
Yeah, with his like empty sockets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which he's just like, I'm not covering it up. Just deal with it.
And there has to be some significance to, what's happening to him, and then the fact that when we get Duncan back, he has Tleilaxi eyes, right? So there's got to be like, these are all, these things. I think like because it's so short, some of those parallels and those things in this book are easier to spot. Because I know Herbert's doing them on purpose. Like they got to be, because they're so like they're just there, but they're interesting to contemplate.
We start the next chapter with the moon.
Oh yes, the moon falls down. I want this.
Malia, the womb of heaven. Calling her the fucking womb of heaven is just magic. That's a magic pussy right there.
Wop.
I mean, she's magic.
Yeah.
She's freeborn.
Holy, holy, holy.
And
she knows what it's like. Knows what it's like to do a sex with her dad.
And is this isn't the chapter, but there's a chapter later on, and they call her like the virgin whore or something like that.
Yes.
Because they're like she's virginal, and like I was like, wait, what do they mean? And then I'm like, oh, because she's like a virgin, like she's still a child technically, but she's 50. Literally like fucked the world. Like she has been like railed every single way. She's done her fair share of pegging as well.
She's basically that song. She's like all around the world. If Lynch got to adapt to Tleilaxi, like Scytale would be his favorite character ever.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, totally. I would love to see it.
After 7 days of radiating fevered activity, the keep took on an unnatural quiet. On this morning, there were people about, but they spoke in whispers. It's
got to be a real mood, him coming back there and, no eyes, but acting like he can see.
Mm-hmm.
They take Korba prisoner, who's like their religious leader.
Bad dude.
Chani arisen early. She needed to get some eating. Some ravenous hunger seized her as she sat up.
Mm-hmm. Still want to know. I think here they do it to kind of describe what she's eating, right? And it's like
spice bread.
Spice bread, yeah.
What is heavy cheese?
I know, and I want to know. That's kind of weird to me. Like eating a cinnamon roll and like a chunk of brie just seems weird because like that's what the spice tastes like, right? It's like as a cinnamon flavor. It's constantly described that way. So like cinnamon roll and chunk of brie is that a solid?
Heavier? Is Munster a heavier cheese? I wonder.
Yeah, maybe the stinkier one. Like what's the combo there that's gonna work? Like I don't know, but.
I mean, like really, like if you think about it, like not necessarily like a cinnamon roll with the like frosting on top, but if you got like a, I don't know. I know
like
that
just a cinnamon bread or like a banana bread that's more cinnamony. Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, or even like a biscotti.
Ooh.
So I feel like Chani's reaction here. I feel like a lot of us would have like.
Yeah.
She has a fit of trembling when he aimed those empty sockets at her.
Ugh. Yeah.
But she knows that this is the bullshit, even though she doesn't have like prescience I know that she knows this is the bullshit that she has to put up with, because it's like, okay, he's still my dude. He's still my like ride or die. Yeah, he's my
this bullshit he's throwing at her. I was baptized in sand, and it cost me the knack of believing. Who trades in faith anymore? Who'll buy? Who'll sell? It's like, I just woke the fuck up, and I'm pregnant. Like,
chill
knock
out,
it
dude.
the fuck off.
Yeah, that is the thing. Is like, I think, I don't know, Jen, if you want to get into it now, but like you're kind of what you were talking about with the, he's a sad boy sometimes, but not other times. And like, I know that there's a probably specific thing you're talking about, but this is kind of what that reminded me of when you said that, of like, but what about my problems? And it's like, this is the mother of your children.
That you know.
Like, that
is not going to be around very much longer. And you're like,
and your days are numbered. Yeah. And her days are numbered, and you're a friggin' god or whatever.
Yep. And you're still gonna
chill out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah.
Like, she turns away from him because she can't. She's like, my love. Yeah. And he's like, soon we'll be back in the desert. Only a few things remain to be done here. And he's like, don't fear me, my Sahaya. Forget mystery and accept love. There's no mystery about love. It comes from life. I was like, dude, like, we're way past this shit now. Like,
yeah. They're like a good decade into their relationship at this point, right? Or 12 years or something like that.
A child of ours will rule such an empire that mine will fade in comparison. Such achievements of living in art and sublime. Bro, you have no fucking clue.
You have no idea. He didn't read ahead.
Yeah. He can't see that far in the vision.
Which we find out why later, but
he avoided the golden path.
Yeah, he did. He did avoid. Yeah.
You may have eternity, but I only have now. So she's already like, I'm done. Like, this shit's killing me. Like,
yeah, especially in the chat. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. But when she goes into the chat, or when she goes into the CH, and like
when she goes in the chat, I love that.
Sorry, when she goes into the CH, and she like knows, she knows.
Mm-hmm.
At least she didn't yell, "You're breaking my heart and it's killing me."
Yeah.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
Tearing me apart.
Holy shit. I would watch a shot for shot of this with Tommy Wiseau as Paul.
Yeah.
Paul. Maybe he's actually the perfect Paul.
Yeah.
Maybe we just need to succumb to that realization.
Tommy, I listen to you. I use recorder.
Like, maybe like Chalamet gets his chance for 2 movies, and then Wiseau comes in to close it out.
Yeah,
he's the Dennis. Yeah, he's the Dennis Eckersley of this situation. He comes in and is like,
someone shattered Sid's boyfriend's like mind the other day, where they said that he looked like Timothy Chalamet's cousin.
I kind of see it.
And he was like, "What?" And Sid just started laughing at him.
Does he just see all vaguely European people as the same?
I do. Like, Paul's like, our little ruler of the universe, and she's like, does he not know I'm having like 2 kids? Like,
right. And she doesn't dissuade him of that. That's the part, I think. Yeah, where you're at there, like, she knows that there's a point. Is that the point where she's like, "Hey, I'm having 2 kids, dummy"?
Yeah, she's like, he must know. I'm not gonna bring it up.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. She doesn't bring it up because it's like, well, why not? You guys, your relationship, you need to. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen Marriage Story, but you guys gotta like prevent that from happening.
What's Marriage Story?
It's a story about a marriage that crumbles. Yeah. So like, these 2.
So her telling Paul, "Hey, you're wrong, I'm having 2." He'd be like,
it's basically what's happening in this book right now. Is what the movie. Yeah.
He's like, his mood changed. "You can't build politics on love," he said. "People aren't concerned with love. It's too disordered. They prefer despotism. Too much freedom breeds chaos. We can't have that, can we? And how do you make despotism lovable?" Yeah. I was just like,
well,
way to fucking dig in.
Tell that to the red wave happening right now. Like, they love fascism and they love despotism whenever it's subjugating certain people.
Yeah, and this kind of gets into Herbert's like stated he believes feudalism is the natural state of humanity.
Yeah.
Which
He
some
gets
kind of
all like
soft
whimsical.
fascism.
He's like, laws. He crosses to the window, pull back to the door.
Yeah.
What's law? Control. Law filters chaos and what drips through. Serenity, law, our highest ideal and our basest nature. Don't look too closely at the law. Do, and you'll find the rationalized interpretations.
Yeah.
The legal casuistry. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah, there's some words he uses
convenience.
in here.
You'll find the serenity, which is just another word for death. And I'm just like, whew, bro. Yeah. Oh, we have a Marriage Story fan.
Yeah, there you go. I have not seen Annette. I do love Adam Driver, so I'm sure I'll see it at some point.
Johnny's mouth was just like, all right. I thought we were going to get breakfast, but I guess
This can't be the first time he's done something like this, right? Like gone on these soliloquies about philosophical ideas. You know, I guess I just hope I'm not Paul in my relationship.
Oh gosh.
I hope there's not a Paul. I hope it's a different relationship. I hope it's more of a, at least Jessica and Leto relationship.
Yeah. One thing, sorry, I know that you said that maybe you were going to talk about the movie that you got to see this week. But one thing that
what movie?
did,
no, I know, yeah.
So one of the things that I read is that they show Jessica and the Duke's relationship as more of like equal partners, as opposed to her just being like a concubine, or her just being like, I mean, let's face it, like a cum dumpster is basically what they call her in the book.
Yeah,
it was never I thought that was always people looking at it that way, where it wasn't really that way. Except for him always like, I needed to marry her and I didn't.
And I could see the way Herbert writes sometimes. I could definitely see people like taking that from certain aspects of it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to say too much because I want you guys, before I get too much into anything, I would want you both to see it. That's what I would say. But
Monday.
I think
I might have tickets for Monday for an advanced screening.
Hell yeah.
I'm still fucked out that they moved it up on HBO Max to Thursday night.
Yeah. I do have tickets for Thursday night. I'll definitely be seeing it Thursday, but I may.
Yeah, I'll be going with one of our.
Pull through for.
I'll be going with one of our viewers, Marcy, who likes your cat facts.
Oh, I don't have a cat fact this time.
She's board gaming now, so she won't watch it live, so she'll be okay.
I'll come up with one.
But yeah, I'm going to 7 p.m. IMAX, so I will be ready, and then I'll probably rewatch Friday. So Saturday night we will get together and have a discussion.
There's a lot to discuss.
And they must have told him if they moved it up, be like, look, you're getting your sequel. Just shut the fuck up about HBO Max, please.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that so much of it was he was really planning on making 3. So that's kind of nice to hear. Just, I don't know what the economics of that are like anymore. I can't follow that.
Well, he's a huge fanboy of the work. Yeah. Where like I saw that interview years ago where he was at the IMDb boat party thing, and Kevin Smith interviewed him. He goes, "David Lynch Dune. I respect David Lynch. Not a good movie. Not my Dune." And he's like, "I'm going to make Dune the way it should be made." And I'm doing a
16-hour movie, and it will be like you are on acid the entire time that you are watching
we talked about that. We would love to see an animated version.
Yeah.
12 1-hour episodes.
Yeah,
or 14. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's go 14. Do it. You could definitely do it. You could definitely get 14 out of that.
And then
14
he said,
episodes and a movie.
Peter Chung, who did Aeon Flux, do the animation.
Yeah.
No, I want it Studio Ghibli.
Oh,
sure. Yeah. I mean, they did it. I'm sure it would crush. Well, they did. They made that. It's called Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind.
Nausicaa, yeah.
Very cute sandworms.
Yeah. Oh, look at him. Look at the little guy. He's got a little.
Oh, he just ate that motherfucker. Oh.
Yeah. Oh. Actually, it's more frightening than I thought.
There's no making the Baron cute.
No. For sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of Paul sad boy stuff here.
Yeah, so much sad.
Alia, he's like, Alia's got this meeting. Let her start it. I'll show up when I show up. So they're starting the trial of Korba. And Alia is just laying into him and trying to accuse him. Also, we get some Jessica in here.
Yeah.
Where Jessica's like, listen, I don't want your people on Caladan. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
It's like a gang war.
Despite the special reverence held for Caladan as the place of Paul's birth, the Lady Jessica had emphasized her refusal to make her planet a stop on the Haji. No doubt my son is an epochal figure of history, she'd written, but I cannot see this as an excuse for submitting to a rabble invasion.
Yeah.
It's interesting that is, Jessica's only appearance is in this note, right? Like, she's just totally absent from this book when, arguably she's like a protagonist of the first book, right?
She's like, basically, I mean, it could be argued, but like the catalyst for why all of this is happening.
Yeah, totally, exactly. Yeah. It's kind of interesting. Like, it goes back to like, what does the artist see that, or what do they not see that you see when you read it, and you're kind of like, why don't you carry her into this somehow? And Herbert that's not the story he had to tell.
Ollie immediately is like, our mother is afraid of us. She wants nothing to do with us.
That's true.
Who could blame her though? I mean, geez. Yeah. These two.
Well, I believe it was Children of Dune. Maybe it was just the movie. I haven't read the book in a while, where Jessica's like, I never wanted to step foot on this planet again because this is where my Duke died.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's in there, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And not just that, but think about all the other trauma that she faced. Like, obviously, there was a lot of trauma that she experienced at the, I don't think they call it a castle, but like the, all the storming and then having to go into like the fucking desert and shit like that. Yeah. Like, the Bene Gesserit training doesn't prepare you for that.
And Jessica goes further and she's like, you produce a deadly paradox. Government cannot be religious and self-assertive at the same time. Religious experience needs a spontaneity which laws inevitably suppress. And you cannot govern without laws. Your laws eventually must replace morality, replace conscience, replace even the religion by which you think to govern. Sacred ritual must spring from praise and holy yearnings which hammer out a significant morality. Government, on the other hand, is a cultural organism particularly attractive to doubts, questions, and contentions. I see the day coming when ceremony must take the place of faith and symbolism replaces morality. Again, I can kind of play this into the last couple of years where religion and government started kind of intertwining.
Yeah.
I mean, I think also... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that's been happening for decades, and that is very, very planned by Watch the Family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's also that interplay of laws and morality, too, of like, people will, there will be people that are like, well, that law is immoral, so don't obey it. And that, and then some people will be like, well, that you think that that's a moral thing, but the law says this, and, maybe you're questioning their morality. I mean, that interplay, like, and making that distinction is important because clearly there are unjust laws, and then there are clearly things that are moral certainties for certain people.
Yeah.
That like, there are,
Sorry.
No, that's all. Yeah, I was going to say, if you have an example.
I do. So, like when I think about how owning slaves, being a slave owner at the dawn of this country was completely legal. Teaching slaves how to read was illegal. Even in Nazi Germany. Yeah. Even in Nazi Germany, like aiding a Jewish person was illegal when sending them to death camps was obviously like legal by the state. So the state does not, determine morality whatsoever. It's going to be there for the laws. And I think that we're seeing like the kind of the flip side of that coin, where it's like in today's world, we're seeing all these people who are like, mask mandates can't take away my God-given right to breathe. And at the same time, they'll tell a person of color, well, if you just obeyed the law, you wouldn't have gotten shot by the police. Like, right. Or
they'll say, we need to create a law so that if you have a uterus, you can't get an abortion, something like that.
Yeah.
Right. Like the person, it's a rights versus responsibilities also of like,
There was a great moment in a book Jen and I championed, Philadelphia by Rodney Barnes, where he has
heard of it.
John Adams reflecting on his life. He's like, I knew slavery was bad, but I never said anything. I knew women should have rights, but again, I never fought for it. Right. And he's having this weird hindsight going like, I went along with what was going on just to maintain my own status quo, knowing it was wrong and never speaking up.
Right. Yeah, there's like an inertia and a trajectory to things, right? And that's what, and we're all, we can sort of try and get outside of it, but we're all susceptible of it. And it's also something we all need to sort of struggle against, I think.
And it's a weird thing in the book, because John Adams was said, like, the one thing I have for me now, he wants to become the vampire president of the United States, is that he has perspective.
He's got a couple centuries of perspective, and that's something I've tried to like change my verbiage around a lot of things. And one of those things is not saying that like if someone was anti-slavery during those times, they were not ahead of the times by any means. Everyone else was behind the times, because there were still people who were, like especially the Quakers, who were like anti-slavery during that time, and they were not ahead of the times. Everyone else was behind the times.
I like that. That's a great idea.
So I've been trying to like flip, because language matters. Like I've been trying to flip my language in that way.
I always just like the use of perspective. That was his rationality of, I've got perspective now. You've also been alive for a couple of centuries. So like if you didn't learn anything, you'd have issues. But for anybody out there, if you haven't read Philadelphia by Rodney Barnes, Jen and I are huge champions of it. We've had him on twice and interviewed him. Fantastic guy. And he's got his own label started now, his own imprint. And he's got Blackula coming out. And then next week, or this coming week, Nita Hawes, oh God, I forget the second part.
Nita Hawes' Nightmare Blog,
which is a spin-off of Philadelphia. Fantastic. Philadelphia, the first volume, is $9.99. So like for spooky season, you owe it to yourself to read it.
I have to like tell on myself a little bit here. Okay, so
busted.
I know I am. So don't tell anyone, guys. But I bought my first Dynamite book in a very long time, and it was because Rodney Barnes did it. It was because Rodney Barnes did a James Bond book.
Okay, cool.
So I'm like, I went ahead and pre-ordered it, and so there you go.
Nice.
Yeah. Honestly, Rodney's been so good to us.
Yeah.
Like in general, like it was weird, like shouting him out for his birthday, and he like thanked us for supporting his book, and it's weird, like that little bit of just gratitude, even though like we've really done nothing.
Yeah, it's like, notice me, senpai. I feel Rodney Barnes is senpai.
He's literally in my Instagram stories every day, like watching every fucking last one of them, and that is intimidating to me. This is a guy who wrote on the Boondocks.
Yeah. He
writes on American Gods, which like or hate the series, that's still like kind of awesome.
Yeah.
I saw your wording there.
It's my favorite book of all time. So
I'm catching up on the audiobooks for Sandman.
Oh yeah.
Very fucking well done.
Yeah, and that
I gotta listen to those.
Oh, the trailer was
so good.
Yeah, I sent it to Jen that morning. It popped up. I was like, uh-oh. And then Lock and Key Season 2, which looks like it's getting into more of the fantasy element of the keys.
They did make a Season 2 of that. Okay.
I didn't get to read Lock and Key Sandman number 2 yet.
Oh.
It came out. I haven't read it yet. Sorry. I'm way behind.
I think we have different. It sounds like we have different takes on Lock and Key, by the way, Jennifer. Which is fine.
We did one of her first episodes.
I heard about your take. That's what happens. But we agree on Jack Kirby, and that's what really matters.
That's true.
That's the consensus thing.
I'm in a weird place with Ditko, because I know his politics were troubling, to say the least.
Yeah, but he also
Ayn Rand
ruled. He also ruled in the pages.
Yes.
That he made. So, the work.
So Stilgar, Ali is yelling for Stilgar, and they're like, he's already in there. Like, why? Shut the fuck up. Like,
just like,
go inside. Like, he's a naive. He was a naive. Like, this is his shit. Stilgar approaches the dais, and he's like, where's Muad'Dib? She's like, my brother's delegated me to preside as Reverend Mother.
I'm the boss here.
Yeah.
And she's like, is it not Fremen law that a reverend mother presides when life and death are an issue? And I just see like her like, listen, motherfuckers.
Poor Stilgar, just like bounced around this whole thing, like with these.
I wanted her to be like Honey Bunny from Pulp Fiction. Listen, you motherfuckers.
And you fucking pricks move.
Yeah. I'll waste every motherfucking one of you.
Yeah. She kind of gives some Honey Bunny energy sometimes.
Yeah. I like to think of her as Lucy Liu in Kill Bill.
Oh yeah, totally.
Where like if any of you fuckers ever bring up that subject ever again, I will cut off your head. That's what I imagined her Elia to be.
Yeah, I think that's 100% Elia. Yeah, for sure.
Not to get off subject, but is that a movie that for Quentin Tarantino kind of gets overlooked?
It's my like second favorite or third favorite. Yeah,
because that second part was so fucking long and tenuous. Yeah. But that first part, like the pacing, everything on it was perfect.
Yeah, I think it rules out.
The Crazy 88's also like that. Yeah, that whole fight, like that.
Right, that fight bananas rules for sure.
Stilgar is like, thus the issue is brought to judgment. In the immediate silence, Corbett rocking forward, hands gripping his knees. I just see like the.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm sorry I did it. Sorry I betrayed you.
Not by word or deed have I been a traitor to my Fremen vows. I demand to confront my accuser. Right away going to Fremen law, like, no, I'm owed this. Yep. And Ollie is like, okay. All right, the tribe is paramount. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Habeas corpus and all that.
Who accuses me? I have a Fremen right to confront. Perhaps you accuse yourself. And I'm like, all right, we're getting a little psychological.
Yeah, that's
mystical terror lay briefly on Corba's face. I'm trying to imagine what mystical terror looks like.
Oh yeah, like fear of magic, fear of like people are afraid of her because they think she's some kind of witch goddess something, right? So
there's also
it's gotta be wrapped up in that.
Ali is like, our enemies have Fremen allies. Water traps have been destroyed. What is a water trap?
Oh, that's to catch the water, right? Like that's like inside the it's like the big. And I feel like it's catching condensation essentially.
Okay, I was thinking like a water trap being like this weird like booby trap on the outside.
Oh yeah. No, I think it's just to catch water. Yeah.
Quanats blasted, plantings poisoned, and storage basins plundered.
Yeah.
And now they've stolen a worm, which is the biggest crime you can do on that planet.
Right. They kind of like, that's another thing in this where there's like, oh, by the way, they stole a worm.
Yeah. Paul walks in.
Here he comes.
And Chani accompanies him. And Paul's like, what, Corbin? No words of praise? Law for the blind, Fremen way in the desert. Who breaks? Is heard muttering.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul's like, who says I'm blind? You, Rajafiri, I see you're wearing gold today. And he's just showing off.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then like they do the 3 fingers from evil, awarding 3 fingers against evil. And Paul's like, point those fingers at yourself.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's just proving that he isn't ready for the desert yet.
Yeah.
Right. He's just saying like, hey, look, I can see.
Which I have questions later on about when Paul can't see.
Yeah, I think I get. Well, yeah, we'll get to that, but I think I have a theory about that, how that works.
Taking her cue from Paul, Alia Rose stepped down to the floor of the chamber, advanced to the edge of Corba's table. Corba starts cowering. Who eyes do you seek up there? Paul asked. You cannot see, Corba said. I don't need eyes to see you. And Corba mustered a pitiful enough pomposity to plead, who accuses me? Othium accuses you, Ali asked, but Othium's dead. How did you know that?
Well,
through your spy system? Oh, yes, we know about your spies.
Yeah.
By the way, we know you picked up a stone burner.
Right. They got him by the short and curlies. I mean, they do, right? They just...
And then Ali is like, Othium's voice isn't dead. Othium sent us his voice. It gives names, the acts of treachery,
Right.
the meeting places, and the times. Do you miss certain faces in the Council of Naives, Corba? We're Merker and Fash. Kiki the Lame, which was a fucking name right there. That's
I know
like
the
out of
names.
Game of Thrones.
The names he pulls out here are pretty spectacular. Just like
Corba shook his head from side to side. Oh, they fled Arrakis with the stolen worm, Paul said. Even if I freed you now, Corba, Shai-Hulud would have your water for your part in this.
Yeah.
And Corba's like, oh, it was an accident. Anyway, they're getting the Telaxu. He goes, who knows what bondage goes with metal eyes?
Right.
The naives in their gallery began exchanging whispers. And Paul murmured, defense of the Quizzerat, a device which either destroys a planet or produces J-rays to blind those too near it. Which effect, Corbett, did you conceive as a defense? Does the Quizzerat rely on stopping the eyes of all observers? Corbert's like, it was a curiosity. Like, I was just trying some new shit. We knew the old law said that only families could possess atomics.
Yeah.
But the Quizzerat obeyed you. A curiosity indeed.
Yeah. Which I think that atomics thing too, like just as a note, like speaks to the time, right? There's like, we're at the beginning of the Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
So he's expanding out, he's extrapolating out that like, instead of nation states having nuclear weapons, it's these, families, these, feudal organizations of families that have these atomics, and the like sort of detente, the like, we won't mutually assured destruction is kind of keeping that in check. And so then you unleash one, which I still, I guess they call it a stone cutter. I don't know what like the practical use of that device would be, but that's a big deal
at this point. Like,
that's kind of how,
And Stilgar's like, Corb is a Fremen and must be judged by Fremen law. And Stilgar's got to put up the face of I'm still a former naive.
Mm-hmm. Poor Stilgar. Still, the Stilgar cut of this would just be great. Like everything.
I want to read his journal of all of this.
Totally.
Still,
yeah. Exactly.
Paul's like, oh, thank you, Still, for reminding us of the law.
Yeah, the law. He's like scare quotes.
Like Judge Dredd.
Yeah, I am the law.
I am the law.
I know that's like the worst version of Judge Dredd, but that's just what I hear in my head.
Yeah.
It's like.
And Alia kind of gets a little pissed off. She's like, you motherfuckers had all this plan. He's like, yeah, Stilgar knows what's up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We got some Irulan here.
Yo, it's your girl.
Tabana was an apologist for Socratic Christianity, probably a native of For Anbis, who lived between the 8th and 9th centuries before Carino, likely in the second reign of Dalamok. Of his writings, only a portion survives, from which the fragment has taken the hearts of all men who dwell in the same wilderness. This is nonsense.
It's kind of all nonsense. I think she's like, Irulan comes through at the end, but I think that like most of her shit is just nonsense.
She just needs she needs an editor.
She needs an editor.
She needs a good editor relationship.
She's got a lot of people around her who are doing the thing where it's like, oh, your work is so great, I'm gonna put it up on my refrigerator, and it's like,
well, she's prequels George Lucas. She needs to be Empire George Lucas. Like she has the potential to be Empire.
She's the person who gets reposted on Reddit constantly. Like, man, this is so deep.
It's like the reshared TikTok videos, and you're not sure if it's because people are like, look at this, what's this about? Or I totally identify with this. And it's like, you don't know, is this sincere or not?
Ooh.
So Bajaz and Hate, aka Duncan Idaho, have a discussion.
Where Hate's just trying, or where Bajaz is just trying to like poke the bear, I guess. Like
basically he's like, no, you're Duncan. He's like, I'm not Duncan, I'm Hate. And it's kind of a back and forth until Bajaz unleashes this
he says the thing.
Mystical tone song that is kind of Manchurian Candidate kind of thing.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking the Avengers Winter Soldier.
Oh, yeah. It's like the cupcake door chair. shoe polish, whatever. I don't know.
Whatever it is.
Random shit.
We are controlling the spice and doing the spice.
Yeah, hey, Bobby.
I have drank spice rum. Actually,
Mm.
spice scotch.
I'm doing Sobertober, so I've got.
Is that really a thing?
It is today.
No.
So it's tea.
Thank you for stopping by, Bobby.
Thank you,
appreciate
Bobby.
it. So, but Jaws just keeps going back and forth, poking a reaction out of hate / Duncan.
Okay.
And we get the whole plan of what they want. Like, even Paul's going to say this. So when that happens, you're going to say we should do this.
It does seem really specific about like what he's going to say, which maybe that's because, so you mentioned this previously, maybe that's because Bijaz has some amount of prescience. Like that's how he could
this might
be
be
specific.
From the Navigator.
Oh, okay, yeah. Or Edric gave it to him. Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, because then it's like we know what's going to happen to Chani, but it hasn't happened yet. We don't like really know how it's going to happen. We just know that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't even mention Chani because it's just like Hate is going to come to her and say she's dead. So for all we know, they could be talking about Alia. Could be talking about.
Well, Paul is going to say she is gone, and that's going to trigger Hate, right? Yeah.
No, I thought that it was Hate was going.
Was that what it was?
Who says the words? I thought. Well, I guess it would be Paul saying.
Paul
the
would
words.
say it to him, and it would be the trigger.
Yeah, and that triggers Hate to kill him.
And I like that Bijaz is like, oh yeah, we'll give him a gola of Chani. It'll be the flesh of his beloved. She will bear his children. She will love only him. We can improve on the original if he so desires.
Yeah.
Did ever a man have greater opportunity to regain what he lost? Is it a bargain he will leap to strike? It's like he'll be tempted, and in his distraction, you will move close. In the instant, you will strike. 2 golas, not 1.
Yeah,
this is what our masters demand.
This is the thing. This is the world's longest infomercial. They're trying to sell you a gola. They're trying to sell God a gola. Like that's what the Tleilaxu's ultimate plan is. And it's sort of, and it's it's cool because of how he dresses it up, but it's a pretty wild premise for a plot.
And there's even obviously plans within plans within plans, because then he's basically going and saying that it's not just Paul is going to be grieving over Chani and have him attack, but he also needs to do.
Bezos again.
They did not want her talking about this plan within plans.
Amazon. This is the next thing. So Amazon is starting to make golas.
Amazon's making golas now.
Yeah, Amazon's starting to make golas, Jen, and that's why they didn't want you to give up the game.
Yeah. So anyways, fuck you, Jeff Bezos, and because I know you're watching. But yeah, so basically they're not just is Hate gonna attack Paul, and Paul's gonna be grief stricken and whatever, but he also needs to release his chome holdings, and he needs to do all of these other things.
Right.
So there's
it's not just are huge.
So it's not just this one thing, it's not just Hate attacking him, it's these plans within plans within plans, because the Empire can fall, but it doesn't matter. It's all about the chome or the latinum, because they're fucking Ferengi.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, they just want the latinum.
So this next chapter is just creepy as fuck, and cringed me out reading it with the kind of bone zoning overdosed Alia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Where it's funny. Bone Zone.
Will you love me?
That is Pound Town.
That's where they want to go, but they're not there yet.
They've got to go to the Bone Zone in order to get to Pound Town.
Yeah, you buy tickets to Pound Town at the Bone Zone.
Got it, at the Bone Zone.
But they're in Creepville right now.
Yeah. You gotta get out of Creepville first.
Will you love me like you love the other women?
Yeah.
And this part, because Alia's basically doing her I believe that it's mentioned that it wasn't just her taking a whole bunch of spice. Like she knew she was going to take a whole bunch, but someone else like spiked her spice. From what I understood from this, was that somehow she got way too much. But at the same
she was
time,
on some Molly.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, she's also the like drunk girl at the bar who's like, "I'll tell you when I've had enough, sir."
Let's do shots.
Oh,
Shots,
only gods can safely risk perfection. It's a dangerous thing for a man. He's like, Duncan died. I'm hate. She goes, uh-huh. Yeah.
She's like, sure.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, you've had too much spice. She's like, I'll tell you when I've had too much spice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
totally.
he's like seeing her in this state, and he's basically like, this bitch is gonna die on me. Like, can people overdose on spice? Like, I feel like he's doing that like mentat work of like, how much spice did she take? Like, does anyone have any what is it, naloxone or whatever it is?
Oh yeah. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, the anti-overdose drug.
Yeah.
They're like, anybody got some?
Well, he even like starts going, she's like, they want Paul's child or mine. He's like, are you with child? And she's like,
no, yeah.
He's like,
yet,
no, but I
I've seen
can
it.
be.
Yeah. Guess how that happens.
Yeah.
Like they're like, he had a face of salt, bitter eyes, two circles of glittering lead or glistening lead. And as he turned away from the light to follow her movement, blue shadows. And she's like, what do you see with such eyes? He's like, what other eyes see? He's like, you've taken the spice a large dose. Why can't I see him? Tell me, Duncan, why can't I see him? Who can't you see? She's like, I can't see the father of my children. And that sounds like the worst fucking come on line ever. Like,
yeah, that is. Yeah, don't take a lot of spice and try to hit on your, your crush. It's not
the only person I can't see the father of my children. All I can see is you. Wink, wink.
Because drunk consent is not consent.
No,
remember that, folks.
Yeah.
And he's just like, have you risked a dangerous dose of spice? You don't tell me what's dangerous. I'll tell you when it's dangerous because I'm Reverend Mother.
And then she's basically like, my middle name is Danger.
Yeah, I think the problem is she bought that spice from a white dude with dreads at the festival.
Yeah, she did.
She shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, you should have got it from the hippies outside Waffle House.
Yeah.
He keeps going like, how much spice did you take? She's like, nature abhors president. That's not what I asked.
Yeah. But changing the subject. Thirst trap.
Words are such a gross machinery, so primitive, ambiguous. And he's like, you gotta tell me. She's like, look at the shield wall. And he's just like, for fuck's sake, I'm not asking you.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna summon Doctor. She's like, no, you must let me have the vision. I have to know. You can't hold the whirlwind. He's like, oh Jesus, like,
oh God.
Don't you understand? My vision's incomplete, just fragments. It flickers and jumps. I have to remember the future. Can't you see that? It's just like, I'll let you hold the whirlwind if you want. Just come back inside.
Yeah. This whole chapter is just, Aaliyah wants him. And he's like, I don't even know who I am.
He's like, Duncan, don't be afraid. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. To be fair, I mean, it's still a Gola.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, that plays into going back to the convoluted Twilaxu sales pitch here of like.
And Ali is like, this Gola loves me, and he's just like, the doctor's just like, we got her in time. You should have called me sooner. He's like,
I tried.
Yeah. Then she like takes off her ear pods and puts them in his ears and plays the shins, and then that still doesn't work.
I was gonna say like
that still doesn't.
It was gonna be say anything. It was gonna be your eyes.
Your eyes. I am complete. Yeah. It still doesn't work out.
For the future.
It's just I'm thinking she's listening to WAP. That's the signal that she's trying to send.
Yeah. There's some whores in this house.
There's some hoes in this house. Yeah.
She points at herself.
Why, she muttered, is it hate? Does he strike out at time itself because it hurt him? Is that it? Hate? I think he heard her speak his name. The goal said, "Milady." She's like, "If I could only burn this thing out of me, I didn't want to be different." He's like, "Go to sleep."
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to laugh, but I'm sister to an emperor who's worshipped as a god. People fear me. I never wanted to be feared. I don't want to be part of history. I just want to be loved.
That's big. Love. That's big. You're tearing me apart, Lisa. Energy for sure, right? Like that's.
So would Tommy Wiseau? Would he play
Duncan?
No,
maybe he's Alia.
Play Alia. Yeah, he's doing all the.
You're tearing me apart, Alia.
Yeah,
I'm a gola.
But he does that like halfway through the movie. So like Alia's played by someone else, and then during this scene
they
specifically,
just swap it out.
Yeah.
I don't like your cynicism. Damn your logic. It's true. Sleepy said. Do you love me, Duncan? Yes. Is that one of your lies? One of the lies that are easier to believe than the truth? Why am I afraid to believe you? You fear my difference as you fear your own. Oh God, I'm talking about Christopher Walken. That's not Tommy Wiseau. Be a man, not a mentat. I am a mentat and a man.
Mantat.
Yeah. Oh.
That's all I thought when I mantat.
Yeah, he's a mantat. Love it. Yeah.
Will you make me your woman then? I will do what love demands, and loyalty. That's where you're dangerous. So fucking cringy.
Yeah, it's so like it's real.
This is right up there with Anakin.
Oh yeah, I hate
cutting the fruit with the Force.
Oh God, yeah, jeez.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Duncan, don't let me go. Sleep. Don't fight it. I must. He's the bait in his own trap. He's the servant of power and terror, violence. Deification is a prison.
Yes.
Speak of Paul, they drive him to destroy himself. Too much weight, too much grief. They seduce him away from love. Oh God, who is doing this? He is. Oh, you're so dense. He's part of the pattern. It's too late.
Yeah. I do like your read on because it's sometimes I can't act it in my head. I think your read is solid here because like the emotional roller coaster she's on.
She heard a fetal heartbeat, a child of the future. The melange still possessed her. Then, setting her adrift in time, she knew she had tasted the life of a child not yet conceived. One thing certain about this child, it would suffer the same awakening she had suffered. It would be aware, a thinking entity before birth.
Right. It would be, yeah.
It could be another child born that's abomination.
Yeah.
That was able to trick the test of abomination.
And think about that too. Like, so she knows what that ride is like, being that baby born, that like, you know, with prescience and being able to see all of that and all of the lives before her. And then think about that, knowing that every decision that you make, baby's
gonna remember fucking its own mom.
The baby's going to remember everything. So like the baby's going to remember all that pipe that's been laid. Like that baby is going to know all of the sandworm rides. Am I right? Yep. You know, like, so think about like having to make all those decisions. Like as an adult, I guess you do want to like impart knowledge unto a child, and you want to make sure they don't make the same mistakes as you do. But you do that just by saying like, don't put your finger in the fucking socket, or like,
right.
Like, I don't need Pornhub, Mom. I've seen your endeavors.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's some weird ass incest porn shit going on.
That's not
no shaming. Sorry, no shaming.
Yeah, if your thing is imagining the generations preceding you having sex with your ancestors, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think of it though. If her mom is like, if she's imagining her mom thinking about bone zoning fucking like Duncan,
I'm not.
She's like, I gotta do what mom couldn't.
Yeah,
I'm not here to kink shame preborns. I'm not gonna do it.
But think about
to jump on this gola.
Think about that wild ride though too, because like at that point, that would be the mild stuff. That would be the vanilla stuff. Like think about like in an exploratory way where like
a little bit of Harkonnen in that bloodline too.
The Kama Sutra of the Bene Gesserit, like you know all those rides. What is the next level after that? Where like
Honor
basically,
Matrix.
Even knowing that, that is true. It's cuddling.
It's just cuddling.
Yeah,
no one's cuddled me.
Yeah, that's basically what she's saying though. Is
She
that
just
like
wants to cuddle.
that's true. She needs
We
some
got some
aftercare.
Stilgar commentary here. He's got his own book.
Yeah, Stilgar's like, I wanted to cuddle Jessica since I first saw her.
Yeah.
There exists a limit to the force even the most powerful may apply without destroying themselves. Judging this limit is the true artistry of government. Misuse of the power is the fatal sin. The law cannot be a tool of vengeance, never a hostage, nor a fortification against the martyrs it is created. You cannot threaten any individual and escape the consequence. Someone ghost wrote this shit for him because that is not the way Stilgar talks.
No. Someone edited it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been hanging out. He's been hanging around with like all their books and like recorded whatever they call
Alia,
them.
you not Alia.
Irulan,
you like this book shit. Why don't you like? This is what I'm gonna say. I need you to translate it into like something really literary.
But hear me out, Stilgar. Give your editor Irulan's number.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, whoever edited that, the Stilgar commentary, needs to go to the Irulan commentary.
So
or maybe Irulan wrote that.
This is the most important chapter.
Maybe she ghost wrote it. Yeah, this is for sure. Yeah.
Shani's out there and she's like, "Ooh, I think that's a contraction.
Yeah.
There's a storm coming.
It's not the cheese.
Like a mother storm." And like she definitely like I think this is when she realizes like nothing good is coming of this.
Nope. Yeah.
And she's even like, "Why are we even here?" Like, I don't know. It was not a Hajara, a journey of seeking. Paul sought nothing here except perhaps a place for her to give birth.
Yeah.
He had summoned odd companions. The Talaxu dwarf, the Gola Hate, who might be Duncan Idaho's Revenant, Edric the Guild Steersman, Gaius Helen Mohiam.
I know, he just brought them with him. That's so weird.
He so obviously hated Lichna, Othium's strange daughter, who seemed unable to move beyond the watchful eyes of guards. Stilgar, her uncle,
because we know,
and his favorite wife, Hera, and Irulan, fucking Irulan.
She's got to be there.
I think it's part of the whole cucking thing, though, where it's like not only did I fuck her, but like she's also having my baby, so like the baby's also cucking. I don't know, man. These people.
He knows everybody in the conspiracy.
It's cucks all the way down.
Cucks.
He knows Lichna is.
It's like a Russian nesting doll of
cucks. Just all the way down.
Oh, someone needs to make that the Dune cuck toy. It's like
you open it up. It's Paul, then you open it up and it's Chani, and then it's Irulan, and then it's Duncan, Alia,
and then another Duncan.
And then another Duncan.
It's going to be a Gola.
Like Alia is very casual. Like they might have wanted me to mate with Paul. Ew.
Oh yeah, that's in this book. You can't erase that. I do love that. Like I have a hard time. I probably haven't read enough books, but I have a hard time seeing that being in a book. I mean, I guess it was in Game of Thrones, so like I'll just eat my words right now. But like, just openly endorsing incest in a sci-fi story, like.
I think even this book is like it's something that we thought about, but we just you know that's where we draw the line.
Yeah, maybe that's fair. It was like you thought of it. We just gotta address it. Like, wasn't I don't want to do it. We just came up, you know, like.
Paul Teller's like, we've forgotten that the word company originally meant traveling companions. We are a company. Yeah. What value are they? There.
And then he mansplains the word company to her.
Yeah, I know.
Like traveling companions, honey. Get a dictionary.
You know that again, like that just goes back to like the thing about Paul of like like she's here pregnant with twins. She'd been manipulated. She'd been drugged for
He still
months.
Hasn't figured that out.
Yeah, and he's just like, I don't have eyes, but I know where a company came from. And by the way, do you know that I'm a god? And blah 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 blah.
Even that, he's just like, dearest one, he said, soothing. We are so money rich and so life poor. I am evil, obstinate, stupid. And it's like, what the fuck are you like?
Yeah,
like okay, that's cool, dude. Like I'm about to give birth.
Yeah, he is the worst at this in this part.
Yeah,
she's like, you're not. And he goes, that too is true, but my hands are blue with time. I think I tried to invent life, not realizing it had already been invented.
Yeah, this is definitely
a good line though.
Part of me thinks that Villeneuve cast Chalamet for this because he wants to get to this story, and he saw Chalamet in Lady Bird, where he is basically this dude. in that whole movie, right? He's like, I'm reading Howard Zinn, and let me mansplain history to you, Lady Bird, and it's like, Jesus Christ, this guy is the worst.
Yeah.
I almost feel like Villeneuve's like, we want Chalamet, because at some point he becomes the worst, and he'll be great at that, Chalamet. Because you already did it in this one movie.
And Chalamet owns that. Like,
he did. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, because he's got that look of just like, I'm cooler than you.
Armie Hammer's going to come in and bang him in the seat in the orgy, and it's going to be fine. Honestly, Call Me by Your Name was a great movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I need to see that movie.
I haven't seen that either.
I've heard it's great. I know Armie's a little problematic now.
Oh, yeah.
What is?
Armie
Hammer's got some issues legally.
What's Armie?
Armie Hammer is the actor in Call Me by Your Name.
I thought you were just saying, like, I just thought it was a tool, a military tool.
Dude's name is Armie.
He is a tool.
He is
Some of these allegations came out against him.
Yeah, not a great. Yeah,
got it.
Cool.
Chani's like, evil odors, evil times. She faced in the wind, saw a worm appear outside the plains. It rose like the prow of a demon ship out of the dunes. Fresh sand, smelled the water deadly to its kind and fled.
I have a problem with this.
Yeah.
I have a problem with Chani. She refers to the sandworm as stupid or an idiot. And I'm like, Chani would never. A Fremen would never.
Could you make the case that it's because she's in such she's so distraught that's like how distraught
like
she is,
everything
that she
is
would
stupid
slip.
to her.
Yeah, like she's in a place where that. But I think you're right though, because maybe like that's why. Because that's not something a Fremen would do, to disregard Shai-Hulud like that. But maybe she's so right that she would do that.
The worm in this point is really just Paul. Like, she's not saying the worm is an idiot. She's like, my husband or Paul. Is the worm who is the idiot.
She hated the water, then inspired by the worm's fear. Water, once the spirit soul of Arrakis, had become a poison. Water brought pestilence. Only the desert was clean. Below her, a Fremen work gang appeared. They climbed the siege's middle entrance, and she saw that they had muddy feet.
Oh, yeah. There we go with the muddy feet again.
Muddy feet again, yeah.
She's like, that worm. I know that worm has muddy feet.
Fucking worm with muddy feet.
Muddy feet firm. Also,
the muddy worm. Yeah. Ugh. This guy's the worst. The father of my children's the worst.
Milady, the wind comes. She saw the Ghola calling to her outside the upper entrance. Fremen fears gripped her. Clean death and the body's waters claim for the tribe. Those she understood, but something brought back from death. Windblown Sam whipped at her, reddened her cheeks. She glanced over her shoulder at the frightful band of dust across the sky. The desert beneath the storm had taken on a tawny, restless appearance. It beat upon the shore the way Paul had once described the sea.
Because she's never seen it, so she only knows it in this like theoretical way.
We must hurry. It'll shred the flesh from your bones if we wait any longer. Siege odors assaulted her nostrils. The place was a ferment of nasal memories.
That's a solid descriptor.
Did y'all have you watched the new What We Do in the Shadow series?
Yeah, I have.
Have you watched the new episode?
Yeah,
that came out where
Cree Summer.
where he basically goes into Nandor's room and he's like, I need to put all the fart smell in here. That's what I imagine Chani's like odors. She's like, these ain't my regular people's like fart odors. Like, I know C.H. Fremen farts. Yeah. And this ain't it.
No, this isn't it. Those are some hydrated farts.
Those are some wet farts.
As though ignited
we've reached the wet fart portion of the episode.
It was bound to come up. It was bound.
Sorry, keep interrupting.
As though ignited by his words, a rippling birth constriction seized her abdomen. She fought against revealing it. My lady, why is Paul afraid for me to bear our children? It's a natural thing to fear for your safety, the Ghola said. She's like, and he doesn't fear for the children? My lady, he cannot think of a child without remembering that your firstborn was slain by the Sardaukar.
Off screen.
Yeah. And he's like, you should be with the medic. She's like, hey, I'm afraid. Where is my Usul? Affairs of state detained him. And of course he can't be there for it because,
Cats in the cradle and the silver spoon. The little boy blue and the man in the moon.
Yeah.
It's classic. Seriously.
And that made him do the golden path.
And it seemed like he had a pretty good dad. So it's really too bad to, I can't really.
It skips a generation?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe. Or maybe when you, like, your father is murdered as you're trying to escape, it, like, has an effect on you.
There's a Zensuni theory of birth, too. So the Zensuni approach to birth, urging her even faster, is to wait without purpose in the state of highest tension. Do not compete with what is happening. To compete is to prepare for failure. Do not be trapped by the need to achieve anything. This way you achieve everything.
Yeah.
I kind of liked that moment because it felt like he was trying to like distract her, I guess, because he's like leading her in that moment. He's like leading her down the hallway, I guess.
And they start calling Hera.
Yeah. And I like that too, because it hints at, and it comes up in the next chapter, or maybe it's the very last chapter, but sort of these themes of mindfulness that work into like some of these sort of like amalgamized religions that have formed over the last, 10,000 years or whatever.
And Hade even does the something cannot emerge from nothing, the Gola told himself. From what does the panic emerge? So he's trying to calm himself down.
Yeah, he's struggling.
Have you tried the litany against fear, my dude?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, try it.
Oh no, he's a mentat. He does the what was the red lip stuff?
The lips become a stain. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. The lips become a stain. The stains become a warning. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. I know I'm missing something there.
It's the red.
The red becomes a.
Yeah, the juice is a. What is the
sappho?
Sappho juice.
Sorry.
Sappho, yeah.
You just wanted to name the sappho juice, and I'm here just like rambling on all about.
No, I remembered it randomly. Yo, hey.
Yeah,
what is up, juice. Justin?
You missed the wet fart portion of the episode. Sorry about that, dude.
Just narrowly. Wow.
Yeah. So just like
check it on the replay for sure.
Yeah.
We'll timestamp it.
Timestamp the wet fart portion.
What's this? Okay. And
giving birth, mindfulness. I think. Yeah, that was like it. Kind of.
The dwarf had done something to him. There's gestal spasms. Bijaz seated before him. A blue robe courier passing as Hate spoke, hesitated. Did you say something? Not looking at him, the Golanad. I said everything.
That's where I broke. I'm like, you were saying some nice stuff before, but then when you're like, I said everything, I was just like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
Paul's just sitting there in the dark, like, I must not think of Chani. I must not think of Chani.
Yeah.
Water flowing in the desert. Like, just random shit. Pardon, sire, the Sembul Treaty, your signature, I can read it. Atreides, Emperor, blah, 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 blah.
Right, you just sign the thing.
Paul turned away, ugly, barren land. All it required was water and love.
In this part, it just feels like they're trying to get him to do this state stuff, and he's like, I don't want to do it, but like, okay, like, I guess I'll sign it. Like, it reminded me of Michael Scott trying to distract himself while also being like, I work so hard.
Right, yeah. Totally.
Even like Paul's just like, I spit on Dune. He thought, I give it my moisture. Fuck this.
Yeah.
Like, was that to me? It's like, dude, if the Fremen catch you doing that,
yeah, like they'd have his water.
They would, yeah.
Oh,
that's
totally.
that's the real reason why he does what he does in the last chapter. Not because he's blind.
He's just ready to...
There'll be no violence from Duncan, Paul whispered. But sire, tell me what you see around us, my lord, the desert. How is it tonight? Don't you see it? I have no eyes, Duncan. But I've only my vision, and wish I didn't have it. I'm dying of prescience. Did you know that, Duncan? Just like, bro, like, stop.
Like, yeah. He's just doing this the whole time.
Do you serve two masters? Yeah, he's doing the anime thing.
Oh, my prescience. Oh.
Did you hear that? Hear what, my lord? It had been his tribal name. Usul.
Oh, yeah, that's Chani saying that, right? Like
he hears Chani saying that because then that's how he like knows.
Like,
so
here we
spoiler
go.
alert,
What is it, my
Chani finally
lord?
fucking
Paul shook his
dies.
head. He felt watched. Something out there in the night shadows knew he was here. Something. No. Someone. Paul shook his head. Okay. It was mostly sweet, he whispered, and you were the sweetest of all. What did you say, my lord? It's the future.
Huh?
Are you, sir, are you coming on to me?
Yeah, are you what? Huh?
I mean, it's fine if you are. I am your Duncan. That's subtext. It's not
We've
really
established that he's canonically a himbo, so people
Yeah.
come on to him. That's just
I
his
don't
lot
understand, my
in life.
lord. A Fremen dies when he's too long from the desert. They call it the water sickness. Isn't that odd? Like, sure, like
Like, what does that have to do with anything right now?
Yeah, your
very
wife
odd.
is the mother of your children is dying right now. You're
You
just
can't
here.
hustle a hustler, and you can't mansplain a mansplainer.
Totally. Mansplaining is when a man explain. No.
And Paul's remembering that at breakfast the day they left for the desert, she'd been restless and irritable. Why do you wear that old jacket? She demanded, eyeing the black uniform coat with its red hawk crest beneath his Fremen robes. You're an emperor. Even an emperor has his favorite clothing.
I mean, he is John Cusack from Say Anything.
I think in this moment, he understands, like, or maybe Chani remembers this as well, but like he remembers thinking that Chani loved this, right? Did I read that wrong?
Yeah, I think
He had brought tears to her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe, like, but I think that in that moment he also remembers like that Chani also loved him, or maybe like he
Paul
describes
has no eyes, but he's crying.
Mm-hmm. On the inside.
There's moisture on his cheeks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's again failed science writer. I don't know.
Who gives moisture to the dead? He wondered. It was his own face, yet not his. The wind chilled the wet skin. A frail dream formed, broken.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I could read that to Shatner. Frail dream, broke, warmed. They heard the wailing then, far away in the siege depths. It grew louder and louder. Chani, Tanda said, is dead, Paul whispered. I heard her call. He turned toward the siege. He knew this place. It was a place where he could not hide. His onrushing vision illuminated the entire Fremen mob. He saw Tandis, felt the Fedakin's grief, the fear and anger. She is gone, Paul said.
There it is.
Kohler heard the words and was like,
ding, 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 ding. Put me in, coach.
He felt his right hand move towards the knife at his belt. His own thinking became strange, disjointed. Sounds came squeezing out of his mouth, a terrifying, repetitive noise. Harak, harak, harak.
Mm-hmm.
The knife came up to strike. In that instant, he grabbed his own voice, shaped the rasping words, run, young master, run. We will not run. We'll move with dignity. We'll do what must be done. The Gola's muscles locked. What must be done? What must be done? Ah, that sounded like the old Duke, Paul's grandfather. The young master had some of the old man in him. I bet he did.
Yeah, probably.
The words began to unfold in the Gola's consciousness, and that was the lever.
Yep.
And it broke the programming, and he became Duncan.
Yes.
And magically, he's like Duncan like that. He's like, oh, I'll follow you, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Forget I tried to kill you.
They say at one point that like his Mentat training and also his Zen Suni training, or like they sort of contributed to that, his ability to, and that goes with the mindfulness too, right? Like he's able to sort of examine the thought that Bajaz planted in him.
Yeah.
And like that, and like that, this is kind of a, like, I'm not like wellness Twitter or anything, like, just, take this as just a very cursory thing of mindfulness, but like he's able to sort of examine that thought and say, like, this is not who I am, and then he's able to sort of move it aside, and like that's something that they kind of get at different points with, like, and that's like the superpowers in this, they're sort of all psychological in a way. It's like psychological control of your body and how you think, and I think that's a really fascinating like aspect of this world, right? Is the mind is so powerful.
That's a good point.
My favorite part here is like, Tandis is like, I spoke to the medics. They said you have 2 children, both of them alive and sound. Paul's like,
what?
It's like, what?
2.
Hold up.
Dose?
He's like, yeah, boy and a girl. I saw them. They're good Fremen babies.
Right. He's like, I only thought I was supposed to have a girl.
And he's like, "Oh, Chani, you didn't tell me, you pesky rascal."
Maybe I should have let her talk for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It was the birth, my lord. They said her body was drained by the speed of it. I don't understand, but that is what they said. Take me to her.
By the speed of it. I just imagine that she's just like out of her, like
pew, pew.
And she's like, fuck.
Like and she's like spiders
just popping them out.
While he's just over being sad with this Gola and this dwarf. Or whatever.
Put away your knife. The time for violence is past.
Yeah.
This kind of makes me angry here because like he spends so much of this avoiding her, and like I don't know if it's just meant to, like, he knows it's going to happen, and he knows that it has to happen, and he knows the things that he needs to do to make it happen because it has to happen, but then spends time avoiding seeing her. And then all of a sudden when she dies, he's like, bring me to Chani, like, show me her body. And it's like, dude, you knew this was going to happen. You could have been there, and you weren't.
You're just talking to your Gola.
They were like, his own awareness lay in the grip of an awful treadmill, replaying his life from rememory. 2 babies. Again, he stumbled. Chani, he thought, there was no other way. Chani, beloved, believe me that this death was quicker for you and kinder.
Right, there he goes again.
Our children hostage. But yet it was child, not children.
Right.
So he's already fucking up his own shit.
Yeah, he's broken the
I permitted this.
There.
I should feel guilty. Chani is dead, he told himself. Chani is dead. I should abandon myself to grief. Has Alia been summoned? She is with Chani's friends.
Just hanging out.
They're getting drunk on spice, sir. Where is Chani? She's right here, Usul. So he can't see now. Magically, like, unless it was like they got born and his prescience just went right the fuck away and they took all his.
I think that is part of what happens there, right? It's like it is broken there because now he hasn't seen any of it. Though it comes back for a second, or not really that, but I guess like a similar, a different weird ability.
Well, also there is some bad writing here because they're like, you have beautiful twins. A boy and a girl, and Paul goes, I only saw a daughter in my dreams, but he said earlier our son will be an emperor.
Oh, he did say that. Oh, damn it. Oh, yeah.
Frank Herbert really needed the editor in this whole thing.
That's Luke and Leia kissing right there. That's what that is. You're never gonna live that down, Frank.
Yeah.
2 children fall thought wondering.
I'm out of here.
Rip my Dune tattoo off.
This is over. I'm done with this shit.
Someone took his left arm, Usul. It was Hera, and this is where he starts giving some names, and Hera gets a little pissed off at him because he kind of shames her.
Well, a little bit, but
he's like, "This is your son, and this is your daughter." Her hand tightened on his. Usul, you are truly blind now. He's like, the blind must be abandoned in the desert. Fremen tribes carry no weight.
I was gonna say, like, when I read this, because I just read this a little earlier, and I was just like, wow, she's like ready to just like shove him out the door right now.
Everyone's
kind of treat her shitty.
Yeah, oh yeah, I don't blame her at all. But it's amazing that he puts that in there of like, okay, you're blind, get out, let's go.
I think here's the thing is that I don't actually think that that's a real Fremen thing. I think that they made it up. They're all tired of a shit.
Just for him.
Just for him. And Stilgar was
like, yeah, when you go blind, you got in the desert.
Out of pasture.
Sorry.
Okay, old yeller.
Yeah.
And then Alia's like, hey, like, it's about Lichen. He's like, I don't have time for this shit. Like, I gotta go see a dead body.
Take him in the back with a Mauler pistol.
Goodbye, my Sahaya. I brought Lichna. That's not Lichna. That's a fucking face dancer. Lichna is dead. But hear what she says. I am Scytale, as Talaxu of the face dancers. I would know a thing before we bargain. Is that a goal I see behind you? Or Duncan, Idaho? Duncan, Idaho.
Yeah. Here we
Duncan.
Go. Now it's Duncan. It's like, I knew it would work. Right? I mean, he basically gets into that where it's like the plan was for the other plan to not work, or the plan for the other plan was, this is your plan since plans within plans within plans thing, right? I mean, this is
Scytale's like, are these the Atreides babies? Aw. And Paul's like, Eric, get her away from there.
Yeah.
Sidetail's like, get away. Stay where you are, all of you. I warn you, a face dancer can move faster than you suspect. My knife can have both their lives before you touch me. That's far enough, Alia, Sidetail said. Alia, don't. It's my fault, Atreides, shall we bargain now? And he's basically saying, like, I can give you Chani. I can make
Like,
it better.
I can give you Chani back.
Yeah.
I don't know if they say that we can make her better. I think that they're basically like, we can give you back like her. We can kind of get her back for you.
Yeah, but he also is like, but what's that gonna like look like? Because to get Duncan back, Duncan had to like almost try and kill me, and then turn back into Duncan.
Yeah, and he's also like, so let's begin with giving me all your Chom holdings. All of them? All.
And then
Paul slipped his crysknife from his belt sheath. The movement produced a strange sensation of duality. He measured the distance, the angle. There'd be no second chance. He prepared his body then in the Bene Gesserit way. He's also seeing through the eyes of what is a child.
Leto the Second.
Yes.
Leto Bambino.
Yeah.
2, the Electric Boogaloo.
Letoito.
The crysknife leaped from his hand. The milky blur of it flashed in the Sidetail's right eye.
Yeah, that's such a cool. I just love that. I remember reading that the first time. I'm just like, this sequence is so cool.
Yeah,
it's again so
both
weird.
Hands up, staggered backwards against the wall. His knife clattered off the ceiling, hit the floor. Sidetail rebounded from the wall. It fell face forward, probably with the knife going like.
Yeah.
Ali's like, oh, they're safe. They're safe. And we have the naming. Oh, the baby kind of talks to him. The other, he felt poised on the brink of terror.
Yeah.
My eyes, father.
Right.
My son, Paul,
and he's like,
you're aware.
Shit.
Oh no, he's preborn.
And he's like, does she do too? And then, and then I think
look.
This is when he realizes, like, oh shit, like that shit that like Alia's been dealing with, like where she's an abomination.
Yeah.
They're now the abominations.
Had Chani's hunger been for that? Or was this somehow the genetic product of this line, foreseen by the Reverend Mother Gaius Helen Mohaim? Paul felt pain in the breach then when Alia cooing over him. Her hands soothed him. Her face loomed. A giant thing directly over him. She turned him then, and he saw his Creech companion girl with that bony-ribbed look of strength which came from a desert heritage. She had a full head of tawny red hair. As he stared, she opened her eyes, those eyes. Chani peered out of her eyes as the lady Jessica, a multitude peering out of those eyes. Look at that, they're staring at each other. Babies can't focus at that age, Harris said. I could.
Yeah. I just want to point out, too, that so I had to look this word up. But Creech in there, it's an interesting choice because the British meaning is, a nursery where babies and young children are cared for during this. But in North America, it's a model or tableau representing the scene of Jesus Christ's birth. Displayed in homes or public places at Christmas.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a little on the nose, but also like very much probably appropriate for like a god's children. Right.
And it's so funny is I was going to say earlier when they're talking about this like company that's there and like you have this whole like weird ass like people there coming there for the birth. It's almost like the wise men.
Oh shit. Yeah. But they didn't bring frankincense and myrrh. They brought the downfall of your empire.
I didn't catch this earlier. They actually Paul was back at his own Wailing Wall.
Oh yeah.
Stealing once again from Jewish heritage.
Frank Herbert, you couldn't get like the like boy girl, like that what gender of the baby, the sex of the baby that like you thought they were gonna be, but like you got that right where like this whole symbology.
Yeah, the symbology of the
My lord, let my son be called Leto for my father. Paul said straight, and also the name of my murdered other son, but let's forget that.
Yeah, I get off screen again, by the way.
Leto 2, Electric Boogaloo.
That's actually what he's called now.
At the time of naming, Harris said, I will stand beside you as a friend of the mother and give that name. And my daughter, Paul said, let her be called Ganima.
What a spoils of war.
Yeah, what an asshole.
Ganima's an ill-omened name. It saved your life, didn't it? It was like...
Yeah.
She should have fucking stabbed him right there and be like,
yeah.
Well, that's why I think
the regards.
I think that's why she's like, okay, I gotta go do all these like fucking funeral rites. Like, can I just get out of here?
Yeah, like I got stuff to do. There's coffee service later too.
It's called her that as a bastard little preborn child.
Right.
So this is another jab at her. It's like, come on.
Rough stuff for Hara. Again, the Stilgar cut would have some of that Hara stuff in it, and we'd get a little bit. It would be juicy.
He would be like describing her like her tits bounced like two balloons or something like that. Like that would be the Stilgar cut. Let's be like, I could see them titties in that still suit.
That's the other show. It's the Siege, but it's like The Office, where it's a lot of like camera interviews of like Stilgar just like. Yeah, and then we call him Usul, but like seriously, he can be a real pain in the ass sometimes.
Yeah, that's why we
Curb Your Enthusiasm, where it's just Stilgar there.
Yeah, just like he's totally the Larry David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Harris starts. They start wheeling Chani's body for the water rite, and Paul's like, her water belongs to the tribe. He groped outward and found Duncan's sleeve. Take me to my quarters, Duncan. And then Bajaz shows up, and he's like, Duncan, let him come 2 faces forward. Kill him if he comes further.
Yeah.
Duncan's like, ah.
Yeah, it's like, I will. I'll kill this little guy.
And Bajaz's like, oh, it's truly Duncan. And Scythel's plan succeeded. And then finally Paul's like, you know what? Kill this motherfucker. I'm done with this.
Yeah, I'm out. Howdy.
And like he's just overjoyed. He's like, okay, yeah, I'll kill him. Thanks. And Bajaz screams.
Yeah. It's brutal. It's pretty brutal.
The last chapter is basically Paul's kind of made his last arrangements. Ollie is kind of going to be in control.
Yep. Hands it over.
Yeah. So they take Paul out to the desert.
Old Yeller.
He's going to serve out his time as a cryptid or die or whatever.
Sorry, I don't know if I maybe missed it. I don't know if it's in this last one or if it's in the one previous where Princess Irulan is basically like...
She's in this chapter. It's in this chapter.
Wailing.
Okay.
Yeah, she's like,
oh!
Because
Irulan's
basically
like yeah, and I didn't hear it as pissed. I heard it as more of like she's genuinely sad, and she's like, I renounce my Bene Gesserit training. Like I renounce all of that. I'm gonna take care of these kids. I'm gonna raise them right, and
that's this chapter.
I'll raise them as my own. Sorry.
Yeah.
Totally spoiling it.
Ollie is like, Paul is gone. He was a fool, Duncan. The whole universe will say it before I'm through, she said. Why, for the love of heaven? For the love of my brother, not of heaven.
Yeah, and in this one, it's basically like she's kind of going back and forth, right? Where she's like, I fucking hate him. Oh, man, I miss him so much, but I fucking hate him.
Yeah.
Well, she's like, do you know what I have to do for him? I must save the life of the Princess Irulan. That one. You should hear her grief, wailing, giving moisture to the dead. She swears she loved him and knew it not. She reviles her sisterhood. She says she'll spend her life teaching Paul's children. You trust her? She reeks of trustworthiness.
Yeah, like it's almost as an insult where it's like, why would she do that?
Oh, yeah, and Stilgar went and slit Reverend Mother's throat.
Right.
Yeah, they all did.
Yeah,
they red weddinged.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you think they just like
killed all the
through
conspirators?
Edric's tank and then just like I'm sure it was very gruesome for all of them, but
yeah,
for him
A
especially.
little bit of a Empire Strikes Back end with like them holding hands. She pushed away from him, took his hand. Will you come with me, Duncan? Wherever you lead.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, bro, like, I get it. She is supposed to be kind of hot, but like,
she's still,
like you're 33. She's 15 or 16.
Yeah, are we saying she's 16 maybe?
And he's just like, the thing that I love about these girls is that they get older.
all right.
Same age.
He's Matthew McConaughey.
He's wearing tight pink pants.
Oh God! If we ever get to God Emperor the movie, it's Matthew McConaughey playing.
Yes.
Oh God.
Yes.
All right, Leto. Your fish speakers say the same. Get younger, and I stay the same age.
Yep.
All right. those honored matrons I see? Sex nuns. Yeah. There is an epilogue. The goal is him.
Mm-hmm. Which I do want to hear a musical version of this. Like
no bitter stench of funeral still for Muad'Dib. No knell nor solemn rite for free the mind, or to free the mind. From avaricious shadows, he is the fool saint, the golden stranger living forever on the edge of reason. Let your guard fall, and he is there. His crimson peace and sovereign pallor strike into our universe on prophetic webs to the verge of a quiet glance. There, out of bristling star jungles, mysterious, lethal, an oracle without eyes. Cat's paw of prophecy, whose voice never dies. Shai-Hulud, he awaits thee upon a strand, where couples walk and fix eye to eye, the delicious ennui of love. He strides through the long cavern of time, scattering the fool self of his dream. The goal is him.
Who wrote that?
Guys.
Was that Duncan's poetry? He's like, I
believe so. It's the goal is him, so I don't know.
Yeah, probably Duncan, yeah.
And he's just like Gurney Halleck would write a banger beat to this.
Totally. Wish his Balisette was here backing me up.
I dropped it in my Lord's daughter. That's his follow-up track.
Jesus. Yeah. Yeah, Children of Dune.
Let's
read it.
Children of Dune. Let's start reading it right now.
Okay.
Okay, so do we want to start in a month? Or do you want to start the new year?
Muad'Dib's teachings have become the playground, and I'm just going to start it right now.
This is the live stream.
We've already been here for 2.5 hours. Let's go ahead and,
So seriously, do we want to start this, and when do we want to start it?
When Dune we want to start it?
Holiday season, maybe Thanksgiving week.
Maybe TBD. I've got a lot of work schedule changes coming up. So.
Yeah, I think I'm still on Friday, Saturdays for a while. But season 3 coming soon.
Yeah, coming soon.
Children of Dune. What would that be? The Two Towers. Children of Dune.
Return of the King.
Return of the King. Yeah. That's right.
Join us next Saturday as we talk about our love or hate of the new movie.
I've seen it.
Now. Scott's seen it.
And won't say a damn thing.
I'm not going to say a goddamn thing.
I appreciate that. But we'll be here Saturday night talking about it. And we'll try and not be too spoilery. But this book came out in the 60s. So,
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
But thank you, everybody, for joining us. I appreciate everybody who hung in for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
With us.
Thank you.
It was less than 100. It was a little bit over 100
all.
pages, and we managed to milk it to the.
It took me an hour to read.
Yeah. Well, we also had to defend Kirby's honor and
that is true. And
discuss Star Trek and wet farts. Yeah. So
coming soon at some point, community theater Dune.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it happen.
Sweet.
I need to redo the Jamis speech one more time. I did it once for Prosperity on video. I need to do a more community theater version.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta really let it sink in because
cinnamon aluminum
speech ever.
Are you gonna play Paul?
Symphony. Well, Sid already claimed that she wants to be Piter. She has a voice developed for him from the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh.
Ooh, hello, Baron.
That works, yeah.
Yeah, she's got it very developed. It is her thing. I think Cidnya wanted to be Paul.
Oh, okay.
I offered to play Duke Leto.
You can
take that
solemn and
responsibility.
dignified. I can't. You can.
I cannot at all. I'll maybe do Alia's parts because I just feel like wild.
As the child,
makes a lot of dick jokes. Yeah. I had no idea.
Anyway, we will see you for season 3, but join us next week for our movie discussion. Bye.